My milk's
It's all
freaked
hazzed
out
out.
from things that Tom says
Dun,
most
dun,
of the
dun,
time.
dun, 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 dun.
Is this how we're starting this?
Dun, 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 dun,
happening.
dun, dun, dun.
It's happening.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun,
That's
dun.
Avengers.
I know.
Welcome to Nerd On Podcast, everyone. Welcome to the podcast you didn't need but deserve. I screwed up the intro completely.
No, you didn't. That was
amazing.
amazing.
But today we're going to have a very special bonus episode. Welcome. We're going to be talking about the Marvel reveal that happened the Saturday of Comic-Con, where they
Yeah.
revealed lots of cool new things about Phase 4.
Cool
the
new
future,
things.
A bunch of logos.
and beyond Phase 4.
Yeah.
Look at this awesome logo.
Great
Graphic
logos. This
design.
is their shtick.
Hey, they had
This is
actors
their-
on
Look,
stage.
they had L and an O and a weird fat K and
Yeah.
eyeball. And
That was a
didn't make
good-looking
any
K.
sense.
I'm going to talk about that.
It'll all make sense
Uh-huh.
soon.
So yeah, we're talking about the Marvel
Yeah.
movies, the TV shows, all the things that Kevin Feige was like, "Yo, I'm gonna slap around my Marvel, body part in Hall H."
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Good save.
so we got a little lineup of all the things that are going to come out, Phase 4, and then some of the stuff they even teased with their Marvel body part
Yeah.
in
Their-
Phase 5.
their Marvel member.
And then we're going to talk a
Marvel
little
member.
bit.
There it is.
And then we're going to talk about what we thought about it a little bit, sprinkled along throughout our thoughts
Yeah.
of the rest of the
and
lineup.
and the context of that, Phase 3, for instance, had 9 films, and this Phase 4 has 5 films and 5 TV shows. So we're gonna touch on that. It's worth bringing up and seeing how that impacts
So it's like
things.
50 hours worth of shit.
Marvel's got
exactly.
5 on it.
I
Exactly.
got five.
But before we get
Ba-dum-bum.
started, I'm one of your hosts, Ollie.
I'm Tom.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Corey.
And I am Josh, and this episode, this special bonus episode, is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd on Nature.
Boom, boom.
Nature.
Wow. No, it's not. No, it's not. It is
Nerd-
not brought to you by the Nerd on Nature.
Remember when Josh adamantly said, like, I'm the one that does it?
Nerd on Nation.
Yeah.
Powered by Patreon.
Wow.
I
You
did
said
it.
it too fast for me to join.
Wow. Anyway, the Nerd on Nation is essentially an exclusive membership service in which you can support favorite creators like us, Nerd On. And in return, you get fun stuff like bonus episodes, you get early access to not only our content, but also our merch. So
Yeah.
that's fun.
You
But
get
also,
never before heard episodes.
never
And
before heard.
discounts. Oh, yeah.
Exclusive.
And
Ah.
you get a Discord server, which is hopping all the time. Anything from comic books to now garden porn. We're talking about gardening. It's
Join
fun.
us.
Porn.
But anyway, check it out. nerdon.io/Patreon. Let's get into this.
Boom, boom, boom.
Join the Nerd on Nation.
Now, brief
nature.
synopsis.
Today.
Initial reaction. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start with the first fucking
Yeah.
movie.
Let's dive
The
right in.
first fucking movie.
So the first film of Phase 4 Marvel, releasing May 1st, 2020, it's the next Marvel movie that we're going to see in theaters,
yes.
is Black Widow. Starring Scarlett Johansson. There's a few other stars. He
He
pull up
doesn't
here.
actually
David-
care about anyone else.
David
He's
Harbour.
just excited
David
about
Harbour,
her.
as you might know and love from Stranger Things.
Daddy Hopper.
He's playing Alexi
Hellboy.
/ Red Guardian. It stars Florence Pugh, I want to say.
Pugh.
Who's playing Yelena. It's another sort of character from the Black Widow storylines that you might experience in there. I think she's trying to always get the Black Widow title, or during one of the storylines that
I'll
might have
talk about
been.
it.
But you'll expand on that. Rachel Weisz playing Melina. Pretty good cast there. Yeah.
Bay.
Got very
Directed
excited
by
about that.
Kate
Rachel
Shortland.
Weisz.
Excuse me. It's going to be as if you've seen Avengers, it's going to be a prequel, since that's our only option at this point. And it's going to center
it, though?
around,
Just kidding.
as far as we know, as far as
Yeah.
what's been established.
I
right
mean,
now.
it's rumored that it's going to take place between Civil War and Infinity War.
Yes.
Is it
I think
really?
it's been stated.
Yep.
I thought we
Yep,
were
yep.
going to be. I read that we're going to be exploring.
This was your subject.
the events. I know, that's why I researched it and found out that there's a good chance we're going to be going back and exploring Budapest and
Yep.
her past.
Budapest.
All right.
Budapest.
That's how they said Budapest.
Well, I'm saying Budapest.
That's how Sean
Ollie.
Connery says it.
They're going.
Budapest.
Yeah. They're going to Hungary. Let's put it that way. And then from there, they're going to be I think Jeremy Renner might even be in this, because if they're going to be exploring what happens in Budapest, that's sort of what kind of gave them that sort of bond, right? So I'm super excited for it. Through the last 6 months of anticipating Endgame, I kind of fell in love with Scarlet Witch. not Scarlet Witch. What are you guys doing?
Scarlett Johansson,
Scarlett Johansson.
Black
You
Widow.
guys are distracting me.
He has notes of the whole list, and he just put his hand over the entire list. Of
Everyone at
movies.
home listening that is not able to watch this, all he gets fucking distracted like Memento style when a hand moves.
Yeah,
Just let you know.
it's true, and he forgets everything.
So, anyways, I love Scarlett Johansson. I'm looking forward to Black Widow. That's the 1st
let's
movie.
discuss.
Let's discuss.
So yeah, Yelena, who is going to be played by Florence. Yelena, I don't even know her last name, but in the comic books, she first was like kind of introduced in like Black Widow's. I was gonna say Scarlett Johansson's limited
We're
run.
a mess, guys.
Black Widow's limited run, where she first like became like it was like the origin, right? The miniseries, and it was her actually giving up the Black Widow mantle to Yelena. So maybe we might get it.
So there's some interesting rivalries. I also read there's like that the enemy is going to be Taskmaster.
Yeah.
It's going to go
Which is gonna be
one-on-one.
dope.
Does anyone know what Taskmaster, who he is, what it's about?
Nope.
So I don't know his name. I don't give a damn. But his main shtick is that he's like a white hooded dude with like a hockey bat. And
He gives people tasks.
and a shield.
and a
gives
shield.
people
The thing is,
tasks.
he
Yes.
can mimic anyone's fighting style.
Yeah.
So the longer you fight with
Oh.
them, the better he gets. So Captain America and Black Widow, who are like the in the MCU the best hand to hand
Fighty punchy
combaters,
people. Yeah.
like fighting against Taskmaster. And the thing is, he mimics your ability. So if he knows how you're gonna fight, like will do it better. And I think he's got some superhuman strength. So even if someone like fighting Spider-Man, the thing is that he can't replicate Spider-Man's super strength, but he will be able to parry and deflect and like go around.
He'll be
Predict their
he'll be an enhanced.
incoming attacks.
for now.
That's
until
the
late,
MCU
until later
blanket
on.
Quick
So.
little shout out. There's a webcomic called Unordinary that there's a whole thing about a character exactly like that, which I'm glad because that helps me understand this concept.
Also, it's just like Kakashi from Naruto, who's like
Oh.
copy ninja.
yeah, that's fair.
There's a lot of that shit out there. But yeah, David Harbour's going to be in. That's kind of exciting because it's like after Hellboy, it's like his superhero run kind of fell flat a little bit, and then now he's gonna have this thing. So we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens
I'm
with it?
stoked. I'm really
Um,
excited for it.
To his defense, it's like a year apart.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say he fell off of anything.
Well, no, I mean,
but-
like, if let's say Hellboy did really freaking well,
Oh,
like
then
he wouldn't
he'd
have
be-
to be needed for the next one. And it's like,
Fair enough.
hopefully he gets, and he's playing, I forget his name, it's like Captain Maple or something
Red
like that.
Guardian.
Red Guardian.
Captain
Not
Maple?
Captain
It's all red.
Another
Canadian-
country.
He's basically Captain America for Canada.
That's why I was like Captain Maple.
Wow.
Captain Maple.
Captain Maple.
Wow.
All love and peace to everyone in Canada.
He spreads syrup everywhere,
Yeah.
and that's how he stops his enemies.
And don't
Out
you
of
know
it-
what
out
That's a
of
Buddha-
fetish
Out of his
somewhere.
mouth. He throws it up
So yeah, we might get
Also
some
a
Canadian.
fetish. Oh, God.
We can get some Canadian heroes, and we all know our favorite guy who does things is from Canada.
I don't know what you mean.
Jim Carrey?
Who's the best at what he does, but what he does isn't so very nice.
Jim Carrey.
Ryan Reynolds.
It's
is from Canada.
Wolverine.
I was gonna,
Wolverine.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Wolverine's
yeah.
from Canada.
Mhm.
What are you gonna hitch a ride down with
Jim
Alexi?
Carrey's playing Wolverine?
Danny DeVito.
You going down to America, bub?
But no, the cool thing is like, yeah, it could open up a lot of things, especially, and they've done Captain Marvel and they've done Captain America, which were like films
The
that were
captains.
that were films done before the current timeline of stuff. So this would be really interesting to see like what seed will they plant? Because then in Captain Marvel they planted like here's a scroll. Captain America like here's a Tesseract. Also here's
Here's
the
a
thing
squirrel.
for the
That's what I
entire
heard.
fucking MCU.
And that's the thing. As we talk about these, we have to remember
Scroll.
that this is all
Phase 4.
This is phase
So,
4. This
like,
is all leading to
Captain,
something.
like Captain Paul.
They're all gonna be
Black
interconnected.
Widow can open up the
Tis
entire
the new phase 1.
what the phases, and so it's like she could be like, hey, there's more enhanced stuff. There's Weapons Plus program in Canada.
Well, it's like knowing Marvel, they're going to use the opportunity of the time of going back in time to plant something back in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something
'Cause
that's
in
been there for
time-
20 years. That
and
kind
then
of
they
thing.
have a time heist.
Exactly. Go back and get it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so any other thoughts we want to talk about?
No,
No.
I'm
Black
just
Widow.
really excited to see it. I'm excited Harbor's a part of it.
You know, it'd be really cool if they did a trilogy for her and it's all before Infinity War.
I'd be down with that.
I just want to watch people fight.
You
I
just
watch
wanna
Scarlett
like the
Johansson
movie.
fight.
Yeah, I just want to like the
If-
movie.
if
I
it
know
The
I'm going
fights
to.
are
So.
like the most brutal
Apparently,
in like Civil War, like Infinity War.
You say
if-
apparently.
and well, I mean, in this movie, they
Oh.
say like this is gonna have the most action of any
Yes.
Marvel.
I'm
We're
excited.
Like,
Yes.
all right,
I'm okay
whatever.
with
I've
that.
always
Yes.
liked.
That's like cool. I'm
Black
glad the
Widow's
CG
action.
looks good.
I'm in.
But if they do the Budapest thing, which I would fucking love because it takes place before all the Avenger shit. Like, I would love to see her and Winter Soldier
Mm.
because we didn't discover Winter Soldier till way later on.
Yeah,
and
that'd
then
be
in the
cool.
comic books, they have like a really deep love for each other, like
Yeah.
romantic love. Like in comic book world, everybody be sleeping with everybody.
That's-
Insane.
yeah.
I'm
It's like,
surprised.
it's like the
Damn.
Greek gods.
Yeah, I mean that's what superheroes are. It's our American mythology. So
Yeah.
like she has run-ins with Daredevil. They have like a little thing, like Winter Soldier, and with Hawkeye. But I don't know, like maybe it's Hawkeye, and then it's like before he meets his wife. So there's like a close. I don't know. That'd
You
be
mean
cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
What? Oh yeah, Clans.
Days of Our Heroes.
Days of Our Heroes.
Wow.
Natalie.
I
5
would
years.
watch that.
So that's
you would.
Anyways, that's it for Black Widow.
that's the first of our phase 4.
next
uh,
one.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. This one I'm particularly excited for.
So
Tom, you want to take this one?
Disney Plus show, so it's not gonna be a movie. I don't think they've
The
explained
first one.
what the runs of the show are. Right, 10 episodes, 5 episodes. They haven't said.
Right, they haven't said anything.
So
A lot of this they haven't stated a lot of
what they've
information about it.
confirmed though, or what they've said, and what we've seen from Daniel Bruhl, it is going to take place after the events of Civil War. So dope, and after events of Endgame, because they're going to address that Anthony Mackie is the new Captain America.
Yeah.
So I don't know why
Came
they're
out
still
with the shield.
yeah, I don't know why they're calling it Falcon and blah blah blah, because he's Captain America. He's not Falcon /
He's got to
Maybe he doesn't.
He's
feel
Sam
confident
Wilson. Yeah, Captain America. Yeah, that'd be cool. Like they're
struggling
breeding-
with his own.
They're grooming him for Phase 5
Like,
so that he can lead the new Avengers.
Yeah, I'd like to see him struggle with imposter syndrome a little bit
Yeah. So that's gonna come
because
out.
we know he has it, but does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so the show's gonna come out fall 2020. So it's gonna be the last show or the first and only show of 2020. And Daniel Bruhl, who played Baron Zemo, who has the purple mask, and we saw a little silhouette from his social media Daniel Bruhl let out, and Emily Van Camp, who played Sharon Carter, aka Agent 23, aka who shot Captain America during the Civil War event. So that's pretty cool seeing where that happened. She's like, "Oh, I made out with my uncle."
Yep.
So that'd be cool to deal with that.
Yeah.
And
That'll be
the whole-
that'll be so
all
cool.
that time stuff. hey man, you can't break the universe every time mentioning Star Wars left and right, but they do. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna groom Sam Wilson, because the thing with Bucky, like Bucky was the first person to take on the mantle of Captain America after Captain America's death in Civil War event that Mark Millar did, and then
In the
afterwards
comics, yeah.
in the comic books that Sharon Carter shot him. And Tony Stark is the one that kind of said like, "Hey, you should pick up the shield." And he had like, it's Bucky, it's Winter Soldier, right? And then him and Scarlet Johansson, him and Black Widow worked together to fight against Red Skull. But now we're just kind of skipping that phase because now we're gonna get this cool buddy comedy, which I thought they played really well in Civil War, especially with the "Could you move your seat up?" Nope. And then I was like, "That was great." But yeah,
that's perfect.
So I would love to see where that goes. Sam Wilson, who who's Captain America in the comic books, and at this point where we are currently in 2019, everyone's kind of been like, you're Captain America, you're Captain America, you're Captain America. So everyone's like, whatever about it. It's not like only one Captain America. So
I think honestly, I think it's more of a marketing thing.
I think
like they just didn't want to confuse people or give people hope for Chris Evans returning.
yeah.
It's
Well,
too
plus
soon.
they've got to show the transition from Falcon to Cap.
Right.
No, yeah, I
Yeah.
think, and especially with TV, that's the strength of TV. You could do character development, which is like you have the time to just like let Sam Wilson carry that weight of that.
That's why a lot of
heavy
actors
shield.
are doing more TV now than movies.
Yeah, and also it's stable work,
Yeah.
just in a
And they get
reality
to
standpoint.
spend time with the character.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
20 years as Frasier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll be really interesting. That's all they've really said. They haven't talked about what the real plot is. But if Baron Zemo is involved, then we're probably going to see a little bit more of that Hydra-esque.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see Hydra
Yeah.
come back into the MCU and see what form that takes.
I would like that too. I already mentioned, I'd like to see, because, especially, I mean, I know Bucky and Steve Rogers had a good relationship, but like Anthony Mackie and
He's a star.
his relationship with Cap in the movies is just stellar.
On your
And it's-
left.
Yeah, it's really good. And I know that, he looks up to him so much throughout the entire thing and respects him so much that being given the shield while he like takes it as a great honor, I think they're gonna. I really hope they play with that, his struggle of trying to live up to that. Because he can't.
sure.
I think that's the beauty of the TV format is that
And he
you're
shouldn't.
afforded that.
Yeah.
I think
That
he'll
up, yeah.
figure out. I think he'll figure out that he needs to just do his own. and
Hopefully,
not
yeah.
be
It'll be a Miles Morales story.
Yeah.
Where it's like you got to be your own kind of Captain America, and I mean that's a real big deal. I really want to see how the suit looks like.
Yeah.
Because
His
he'll-
suit's
he'll-
dope.
he'll
in
still
the
be able to
comics.
fly.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I want to see that, but it's like, it's his normal like grayish red thing, but it's like white instead. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to see that white, or if they do like a chrome instead.
Mhm.
Because now we're getting closer, more fantastic looks for comic books. So it's
Yeah.
like we're the American audience, the world audience is becoming more okay with like
We
I
had
want
to
to see
do that.
fucking yellow spandex.
We had to do this slow push in with the black leather around the Matrix coming out, and
Yeah.
now everyone's like, "That shit looks bad. Let's get the real costumes." I was one of those people when I saw that deleted scene in Wolverine where I was like, "I want it."
Yeah.
So I'm in for the fantastic
Yeah,
costumes.
I'm looking forward just to seeing him on his own. Like
Yeah.
I know that it's a 2-character show in a sense of like those are the lead characters, but it'll be nice to see.
And find out more about him.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
like away from him being associated with. I feel like this one is going to make him of his own thing.
Yeah, and
Like-
Bucky too. Like we're gonna get to see Bucky on his own.
I mean,
Yeah.
what I
which
really
is strange.
what
a
I
man at a time.
love is that like when Luke Cage came out was during the blaxploitation time. So like they were writing comic books for these characters to be like in the the hood and the neighborhood and all that stuff. And like Captain or Falcon was about that a little bit too. He had like a
Yeah.
leotard and like a fro and stuff like that. So it's like if they could do a little bit of these inner city stories and talk about like I'm the new Captain America, and you know it's a show, so you can have those moments where like it ends off where like they're stuck in the burbs of Brooklyn and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and then all of a sudden like he doesn't have his flight suit, he doesn't have any powers, he just has a shield, and so it's like hey, who's this new Captain America? And then like a bunch of black people can like really respond to that, and then Bucky can kind of see like how the mantle of Captain America has evolved
Hmm.
in such a way. So it'd be cool.
I do
Cool,
want to
cool,
address the elephant in the room, which is
Wow. I
uh,
didn't see it there, but now I see it.
Falcon is not a super soldier, so
Mm.
I want to see him throw the shield. And
I mean-
and I want to get to that explanation.
Yeah.
I hope they address it.
Yeah.
Is
I mean, so the way they've done it as well with Black Widow, going back into that, like she has superhuman abilities in comic book form. She's like
Mhm.
80 years old
oh
because
okay.
she has like a weaker form of the super soldier serum,
Hmm.
and so
Got
she
it.
doesn't age because of the Red Room and all the experiments they did on her. So it's like, and also Winter Soldier too is like you have a bionic arm, but you're also like
Super strong.
crazy like mind controlled and all that stuff. So you have super strength, and everyone's super strength
Yeah.
is really, and Captain America really isn't supposed to have super strength. He's supposed to be just the peak of human ability,
Hmm.
but they exaggerate
Well,
that for movie.
Yeah.
So
So
and for
do you think they'll do another serum, or do you think he'll just be
No, I think he has to do it by himself.
by himself?
And I think what they could do is just like how Cap threw Mjolnir at the shield, you have to find some cool ways to throw that shield.
Some
Like
tech
fly,
involved.
like well, it's like you do a dip fly and then you do a flip. Like all the ways
like,
that
yeah, whip it.
yeah, and like all
kinda.
the ways that he was kicking people's
it
ass
good.
in Civil
Da-da-da-da-da.
War, like with his wings and all stuff, doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
next,
Sweet. Eternals.
Eternals.
So, Tom, I'm hoping you'll jump in as far as the comic book side of this. I am someone who's not familiar with the Eternals.
Uh-huh.
Beyond, I know they're in space, and I know
They're
they're
a thing.
created by the Celestials. So this is a movie,
Wow.
not a TV show.
November 6th, 2020.
Do you want to do this one?
No.
Director is Chloe. How do you say this? Zhao.
Zhao.
Zhao? Starring Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, Kumail Nanjiani, Selma Hayek, Brian Tyree Henry, and Lauren Ridloff. It's a
Great
big
cast.
cast.
Great cast.
Star-studded.
Star-studded cast, especially a big one for Brian Henry, who was in Atlanta and most recently Spider-Verse as Miles' dad. So keep an eye on him. I'm a big fan of Kumail Nanjiani. Essentially what it is from my understanding of my research into this, is that the Eternals are basically like a human offshoot that were created by the Celestials to be these immortal protectors on a kind of different Earth. And they fight these guys called the Deviants. And technically, and correct me if I'm wrong, Thanos has the Deviant gene. So he is basically one of their
One of them.
enemies. They're immortal. They all have different powers. Go ahead.
So all the Eternals, in terms of everyone's like, what can we expect? They're all Supermen.
Yeah.
So in terms of what Marvel thinks of superpowers, Superman is the most boring. Super strength, speed, durability, flight. That's what all the Eternals have, because it's like, that's your blanket. Here's your super.
And then they have stuff on top of that.
Yeah, like
Oh.
laser beams and like telepathy are more unique for Marvel. That's what they give a shit about. But super strength, super speed, that's like, oh, you're a basic bitch.
Wow.
Which
Wow.
100%, because these Eternals are
Wow.
supposed to be like,
Yeah.
we've evolved and we're so smart and we don't need fights. So it's like, how do we, in the MCU, how do we explain how the Eternals exist throughout all this fucking Thanos shit? It's like, well, we're evolved, so we don't give a shit about your problems.
Yeah.
But what I think in terms of, you had most of the story all correct. Eternals we're an offshoot of humans. So like imagine like the first Homo sapien, then Celestials came to Earth, and then it's like cool, we're gonna take the entire human population, or at least like a sect of them, and speciate them. And so we're gonna select them to be between the Eternals, what Corey mentioned, and the Deviants. But one was just like you're a human, but you also have a mutate. So they could become the mutants.
Oh.
And so that's where the X gene comes from. That's what their big retcon was kind of about.
Wow.
So if you think about it, Thanos comes from humans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But he has
That's
the
a fun-
deviant.
But he's
gene.
part of the deviant part, and they got taken apart and went another part of space. And Titan on Saturn's moon.
Yeah.
Titan. Anyways.
something like that. Yeah.
So it's one
One of those
planet's
Oh.
moon. But yeah, so like the Eternals
Yeah.
are godlike beings, but like they're nothing compared
Immortals.
to they're nothing compared to like Celestials and shit like that. So it's they're kind of like not arrogant, but it's like they just kind of have like a metropolitan idea of like what peace and civility is, versus the Deviants are like
Okay.
we're this one scrounging around, and the humans and mutates were like all. Mutate is the wrong word because mutate actually means something else in the X-Men world, but I'm just like the mutant people and then the humans just
much
coexisted
information.
because there's humans
Yeah.
that like were never touched.
It's
right?
intense.
They speciated by themselves and just became more humans.
So, question:
Yes.
based on your knowledge of comic books and based on what we know about it, what do you think we might? I mean, what kind of?
I would love it. It's like a Dawn of the Era kind of.
Well, I
film.
have which characters are being
Okay.
included
Mhm.
and who's playing each one, and maybe you can tell us a little more about each of the characters if you know.
I may or may
'Cause
not.
It was pretty. I mean, I could Google search it. It's pretty basic stuff. But Angelina Jolie is playing Thena,
Mhm.
who is apparently the leader of the Eternals. They're all their names are based off of like old gods
Yeah.
and stuff. To a degree, they changed them a little bit.
Athena, who would that be from?
I don't know. Zeus.
I was gonna say
Xena
Hermes.
Warrior Princess?
Hermes.
Think about-
Richard Madden is playing Icarus.
Rob Stark.
Kumail Nanjiani Kingo. Brian Tyree Henry is playing Fastos. Salma Hayek is playing Ajak, and Lauren Ridloff is playing Makari, which is Mercury. So
McCary.
You got it.
yeah. So that's who we have starring in the film. I'm looking forward to it mainly because it's cracking the Marvel space wide open.
I think that's
Yeah.
most of
Uh,
what it's going to be doing.
I don't know that much about like good storylines to know. The last thing I read about him was when they died because the Beyonders killed him.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Because the Beyonders were like, we live in the Beyondverse and we're destroying all the universes.
Oh.
And they were killing all the fucking Celestials.
Oh.
So I mean, we'll talk about overarching stuff later, but like Phase 4, 5, and 6, I think are going to be like another saga,
Mhm.
and whatever Eternals is, I think they're going to start planting seeds of like.
Well, I
Galactus,
think
you know, like,
I think it's
The
a
Cloud?
lot of these are
Bang the
like
Cloud.
not the way the DC kind of shotgun their heroes, but in the sense of like they're gonna just wedge open these huge windows
Yeah.
of like these are new purviews, like Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think
Was a sliver.
Infinity War. Yeah, exactly. They were like, here's the fucking tip of the iceberg, and then here's the Eternals like giving you like we got a little bit about when Wong was like back when the universe was made. Here are all these Infinity
Yeah.
Stones. He did that
and you
thing.
saw some of those clips.
Like
in the
now
first
we're gonna
Guardians.
get to know like what Celestials are, like truly what Celestials are, not that bullshit from Guardians of the Galaxy 1. But like we're gonna know like what the like living tribunal is. I'm not shitting on Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, I'm just trying to think of the moment. What
because
The
you're
collectors.
talking about the big head that they
well,
fly into?
no, that's they talk about like, hey, there's a Celestial. He used the power.
That
of
is
where
a
they
Power
tried
Stone.
to all hold it.
And
they-
Celestials don't need that.
Yeah.
Celestials are more powerful. Like could
Got it.
handle that shit. and
That
could
is a
destroy
celestial head that nowhere's in, though.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Which is
that's
pretty
just
cool.
great.
I love that.
But yeah, so it's like it would be cool just to see where it goes, and I would love. My idea is like this becomes like like a history film.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like it's more of like throughout the time this is what happens, and it's so separate from the MCU
Yeah.
because it gives everyone who's watching it a back history of like, oh shit, this is where things are coming off. Like
Got
I
it.
would
I
love
would love some nods to things that we saw in Guardians and stuff like that. And
I mean,
Endgame,
yeah.
Infinity War.
I feel like the beauty of this is that they're not necessarily attached to anything previous
Like,
as much.
Yeah.
the main thing I would like to see is
Pretty
probably
much
like
fresh start.
the Collector, Benicio del Toro,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like the Grandmaster, Jeff Goldblum, somewhere in there, because those
I
are
would love the Collector to come back. I think Benicio was so underused.
they're
Yeah.
really important people in the
That's
cosmic
what I
world. Yeah.
remember just that. Magnificent. Yeah. Magnificent.
Yeah, so seeing those people involved would be kind of cool, or maybe seeing the original Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
like with Stallone,
Stallone
and
and
that
stuff
crew.
that they were kind of setting up.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I would love that.
see,
Sorry.
I mean, as they're getting farther into space, I would love it for them to finally introduce Adam Warlock.
yeah,
I think that's a given. Yeah.
I think that's a thing that's they definitely are gonna just wait for Guardians because they
Yeah.
like James. They probably don't want to touch
I have a
anything James Gunn wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're like James Gunn, we need him.
Yeah.
You're fired. Actually, you're not fired. I need you for the ball.
Don't touch it.
Um,
Don't you do it.
You
That was good. That was a good Jonah Jameson reference.
But no, I would like to see like other alien races. I would like to see Asgard
Yes.
before the Bifrost
Oh my
War and shit like
God.
that. Like I would like to see all these things. Where it's
I
like,
would, yeah.
like where the Valkyries are, like all that thing. Like again, do it all before this shit happens. So it's like cool. Expand it in the way where it's not POV.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just give us a good background. Because like now Marvel has that like upper hand of like, bitch, you're gonna buy all our fucking tickets.
Mhm.
It's like yeah, you're right.
We know.
I mean, it's
We're
like-
aware.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
literally
you're
like
right.
we don't even need to make an Avengers movie. Like you're gonna.
I would
it's
love
gonna be fine.
something I would love for them to include in some of the more of the space stuff is something I really appreciate about the original Star Wars trilogy, like the OG 4 through 7, or
Puppets.
yeah, no, but like they the way that they he layered the background in. George Lucas was able to like include different alien races, never really explain them,
Right.
but just have them in the back.
Just
there.
fill the universe.
Yeah, right. Sorry, 4 through 6. I said 4 through 7.
We understood what you meant.
But yeah,
There's some aliens in
I would
7.
love a little bit of that too. Just paint it.
Yeah.
Don't keep including the same 3 different aliens and everything. Like,
Yeah.
just give us some
If-
shit, some weird, wild shit.
Seven
That's what I'm saying.
works.
If I
Yeah,
can
Jakku.
guess.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? They
If
use
I-
puppets.
If I can guess what they can probably try to include and make a big Thanos like thing or like whatever is they start talking about Annihilus
Mhm.
In the Annihilation Wave.
I
And
think
it's-
they said this movie's going to introduce the new big villain.
yeah. So
so.
I'm thinking, and apparently they might say they might do 2 big villains. So I'm
Yeah.
like thinking Galactus or thinking of Annihilus, and so
Real Galactus, not a cloud.
not a clown. But like the cool thing about
I didn't say
Annihilus.
anything.
Tall man.
There was an Annihilation War, and
boy.
pretty much like during the Civil War event in Mark Millar, like heroes fighting heroes. Nova, Strider comes in. Richard Ryan, Ryder comes in, and he's like the last of the Nova Corps. So he has all the power of like all this space force in him, and he's fighting off this entire like wave of monstrous creatures that come from another like dimension that are eating all life in the universe. And he's like, guys, I need your help. It's like, what are you guys fighting over? You guys are idiots. Let's go do this fight right over here. So it's like, it could be a cool thing.
Could Silver Surfer come back to the MCU?
Yeah.
Hire Doug Jones to do it again, please.
We're on the doorstep of
I'm begging
It's going to
you.
be Andy Serkis.
Fantastic Four, which we'll talk about.
I
later.
want Doug Jones back.
Um,
Okay, so the
so
next that's
next
November
one.
6, 2020.
The next one, February 12th, 2021, is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Again, not one that's a
Ring
lot
on
of
it.
information, except for we have a director, Destin Daniel Cretton, which he doesn't actually have a whole lot under his belt. He's got one film
That's the
called The
Marvel
Glass
way.
Castle
Yeah.
that was recent, and that starred Brie Larson. And then he has, like, if you look at his IMDb, it's mainly short films.
That's the Marvel way.
Because
Yeah.
then they can mold you.
Oh.
I mean, no, I don't
Wow.
I don't mean to say this in like a really shady way, but it is 100% a TV show now.
Yeah.
Marvel movies are a TV show. The only thing that matters is the showrunner.
Yeah.
And it's Kevin Feige. If Kevin Feige's not involved, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the directors kind of come in as guest spots.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of how it is. I'm not
Unless
saying
you're
it's
the
a bad thing,
Russos,
but that's how
and
it is.
then you kind of get a little.
It's kind of like
little
getting
more.
like, oh god, we got Kevin
Right.
Smith to do Supergirl. It's like, oh, we got a comic book person.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Or when he
Um,
did Flash and stuff like that. Yeah.
We've got writer David Callahan, who did Expendables 1 through 3, Godzilla 2014. But the big thing is stuff that he has upcoming, which is Wonder Woman 1984, Zombieland Double Tap, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2.
so he's got his comic book chops going.
Nice.
He's got a little something going on. Starring, oh man, Simu Liu. He doesn't actually have a whole lot under his belt either.
He's just a good looking
Kim's
Chinese
Convenience, Taken TV series. He's done some one-offs on different shows.
dude. He also was in Yappy as Tom from Wong Fu Productions. Those were the people that
Wong
made
Fu, shout out.
that made me be like, Tom, you're an Asian guy. You could be a director one day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Their
we-
fault.
We have Aquafina, but there is no role attached yet, no name of a character yet. And then
She's
we
a
have
hot commodity right now.
yeah, she is.
Hopefully she
And
raps.
Tony Leung. Is that how you say that? Leung. And apparently he is playing the real Mandarin.
Yeah, that's the big. That's the big.
Tom
What's
has
that,
a big
Tom?
side because so backstory, a little bit of a backstory. Tom and I were at Comic-Con while this was going
I don't know
on,
what
and
you're
we were going through the update, and I mentioned this, and he was like, "What? Please explain." Like,
I
because you
don't-
had
I don't-
every time we mention this, you're
I
like,
I don't remember what the fuck I'm saying, but I'm just gonna go off a fresh batch right now.
Yeah.
You had two times to do Mandarin, and you didn't do one right at all.
What was the second time?
fucking Dragon Man Guy Pearce. So I'm like, okay, so the one was like an actor boy, which is like, look at
Oh, I
this
see what you're saying,
surprise
yeah.
because we're smarter
I think
than
they meant
you.
2 different movies. I was like,
But I'm like,
just
no,
the
you
one.
had 2 Mandarins in one movie, and none of them were actually the real Mandarin.
Right.
Because also, how do you
Right.
sell this like Fu Manchu Ching Chong like villain looking thing? I could say it, I'm Asian dude, but like that's what it
my
was
God.
created out of.
Well, if you look at
No, like yeah, it's out of the Oriental.
because I actually liked the Ben Kingsley spin,
I was okay with it. Yeah.
but if they gave us the real one, I loved
Yeah.
making that
instead of
like,
fire breathing Dragon Man.
Yeah, I loved the idea that this like super over the top kind of, well, not kind of, very racist depiction of this character is actually just like, whoa, hey, I'm cool. I'm cool.
And this is
I
during the
love
time.
beer drinking Budweiser acting
Like
guy.
Josh, you did a little research. What's Shang-Chi's father's name?
Fu Manchu.
Fu Manchu. This was during the time that all writers in
And
America.
if you look at the character, yeah, it's
the
pretty much what you
writers-
think.
All writers in America were like doing this Oriental like fear thing, like Ming the Merciless from
Fing
like
Fang Foom.
yeah, like
The
from
big-ass
Flash
dragon.
Gordon. All these characters were all like these, long nailed, big Trouble in Little China dudes, right? And it's not like I don't not hurt by it. Like I know people are like Marvel fans are mad because the Chinese character, whatever, right? Like that was a time capsule of its time, so I don't give a shit. Like
Yeah.
to me, I'd rather care more about like, look, if he looks like the villain from Forbidden Kingdom, because it is supposed to look like Chinese fantasy action drama.
Yeah.
Like I'd be down with that. Fucking just make it a reason why, because he comes from this feudal era of China, and he was like petrified in like armor, and he comes back to like, it'd be fucking badass, right?
I mean, that's probably what they're gonna do.
Like, you guys seen the Shadow with
yes.
remember the villain from that? It was Kublai. It was
Yes.
Genghis Khan, and it's like they
Yes.
just made it where like he only came back into power because he had his like magical dagger. I'm like, cool, whatever, dude.
Shadow.
Like it wasn't super like or like into this like fear of the Asian people and the MSG shit. But anyways, Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Martial arts. Just think Bruce Lee.
Mhm.
That's all
Yeah.
it is. Just Bruce Lee. When Jim Starlin and we talked about it, Josh has an interview that'll be on our
Coming out
YouTube.
soon.
That is on our YouTube at this point.
But he even mentioned that he's very curious and excited to see what they do with it because, to quote him, there are a million kung fu movies out there.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how they make it their own, how they do that. And, a little bit of a backstory about the character. I know very little, but of what I found out is that, so his father is Fu Manchu. He's a supervillain. But Shang-Chi doesn't know that about him. He gets sent on a mission.
Way to bury the
Shang-Chi
lead.
gets sent on a mission by his father to kill this guy. And he finds out it's like this evil plan, and then he vows to bring down his father.
I have to kill my father.
I don't know anything about
That's what it was. Let's be honest. That's what it was.
If you
It was.
look at the design of it, it's of the old comics, you're like,
It's
yeah,
just well,
yeah, pretty
well
much.
executed, Tom.
But yeah, so I'm curious to see. I don't know, what are the 10 rings?
The 10 rings. So that's the thing that you're. So in Iron Man 1,
It's like the 7
He's
Dragon
so
Balls.
angry.
he got kidnapped by the 10 rings, and they called it a terrorist organization. I was like, cool, that's an adaptation, right?
Yeah.
Liberties and all that. And then in the third one, they're like, I am the Mandarin. I am the one that controls the 10 rings. Like, are we gonna say the 10 rings? No, we're not. Okay. And then we get this new one where it's like, and now the legend of the 10 rings. Like, what? Are you retconning?
Hey,
Are
that
you
was
retconning?
just the Afghan branch. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I want a part of that argument is like,
maybe, hopefully.
was it Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or 1? I forget. They did like an end credit
2 makes
scene.
me cry. 1 makes me cry for other
Well,
reasons.
the end credit scene was like, oh, we'll call him Adam, and it's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
okay,
that's-
6
that's-
movies
that's
later.
two.
That's Galaxy 2. Yeah.
So it's like, well,
Oh, yeah.
we
'Cause-
don't know what's gonna happen with that. So
Well,
it's
they-
like the 10 rings. It's like they're just seeds.
They never said like we will never show the 10 rings because
Yeah.
we have. They're like we are the 10 rings. Like no, the 10 rings are they're actually cylinders from an alien ship. I don't know what Caitlin's smiling about,
Spoilers.
but there's cylinders from an alien ship, and then when the Mandarin comes across like this ship that's like a spacefarer, like an explorer, and he sees those rings, he's like, those look like rings.
Those are
He
the
puts
10
them
of
on,
them.
and then he's like, I have the power, and like they're super powerful. So the rings, I'll try to go to an abridged version of it, but they have different names. One's called the Remaker, Influence, Spin, Spectral, Nightbringer, Zero, the Liar, Lightning. I wonder what that one does. Incandescence and Daemonic.
Electrocutes the user.
Wait, you said they're little cylinders?
They're actually cylinders that have power into it that were like in
How-
a ship. but
How
they-
big are they?
I don't know. They probably change based on the wearer because it's
Just like the ring.
All I was thinking of was like the finger traps.
Just like
Just have a bunch of like finger traps and be like, I control everything.
I have the power,
And yet I control nothing.
As if it wasn't racist enough.
So I can
was like,
escape.
I didn't say it.
what?
As if it wasn't racist enough.
Oh,
Oh my
no.
God. They're Chinese
Yeah,
finger
that's true.
traps.
Yeah, way to be systemic about it. Okay, so the thing about the rings is that they find people that can wear it. So like most notably was
They want to be found.
yeah, so one that controls loyalty was Daimonic. D-A-I-Monic. And that goes to the Mole Man. Fantastic
Oh,
Four
shit.
villain. And
Yes.
he controls the moles.
I get it
And
now.
so like each ring found a wearer to use. So I think Spectral or Nightbringer went to Malekith, the Dark Elf. So like different people in the Marvel universe have
Christopher
worn this.
Eccleston.
So this could be like their new little like nod to the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Dig it.
A little chase to get these rings and all that stuff, and the Mandarin.
The
comes
new
and
catch
gets
'em all.
Maybe he's the second villain.
Maybe, maybe I don't know. That'd be
If they
kind
want
of
to
cool.
keep Shang-Chi around, they probably
Yeah,
gotta
I
keep
mean,
him
like
through a few
they're
movies.
they're already doing this whole like consequence of Iron Man kind of thing. It's like Iron Man destroyed our Afghan branch, and now we need the China branch.
Oh my God.
And then Shang-Chi's like, yo, I got it. But also Shang-Chi's had like some run-ins with Black Widow, so it's like, where are we gonna go with the who knows?
It's gonna
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah.
I would see a baby Shang-Chi and
I'm excited for that one actually. I'm excited for that one because I know
It's
the
not that
least
far
amount
back
about
in
it.
time.
Yeah,
That's why I'm
same.
excited.
I
about
would say like this, Corey. I think I know your answer, but if anyone in this table, if we just throw it out real quick, gun to your head, what martial arts movie would you want this kind of like look like?
it. You know my answer?
Yeah, I know it.
I'm curious to what you think I'm gonna say.
You want me to say it?
Yeah.
Matrix.
That'd be cool.
I was gonna
That
say
would
Rush
be
Hour.
cool.
Rush Hour. Okay.
I mean, I would say the Matrix, just the fighting
I
style.
don't know, should I say Forbidden Kingdom, Tom?
You haven't watched it. You can't say that.
That's why I'm
Crouching
asking.
Tiger.
Caitlin.
Just make it a Wick movie.
Oh.
Just nothing
Oh,
but
damn.
fights
I would go It
all
Man.
over the place.
Yeah.
It Man, Donnie Yen style.
I want to
Nice.
see it in the style of Jackie Chan's Drunken Master.
Oh, okay. Long, wide shots, everything.
Wide shots,
You know what?
everything, but also all practical.
For fun, in the comments below, or if you're listening to on the podcast, then hit us up on the DM.
Slip and slide.
What Marvel character would you cast Keanu Reeves to play?
Fu Manchu.
Let us know.
Because we
His
might
dad.
find out in the future.
Adam,
anyway.
Adam Warlock?
Or that. Hey, that'd be perfect.
Or the Mandarin, the villain.
Anyways, that's not for us,
what
'cause
do we
that'll take us up.
what do we have next? What do we
A
have
year.
next?
All right.
Doctors, or
WandaVision.
So next up is WandaVision, which is coming out in spring of 2021.
Disney Plus.
We don't have a whole lot of information about it. We know Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are coming back
Both
as
bays.
Wanda Maximoff and Vision.
Mhm.
And shortly after, it's a tie-in to the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness movie, which is coming out on May 7th of 2021. And
So I guarantee it's going to start 10 days before.
right,
that, once you
exactly,
get caught
which
up.
they have to be working together well enough that they don't trip on each other. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work, because I know that's been a problem a couple times. Yes, Tom.
My
he has his
thoughts-
hand up.
They have been, but because they were on Netflix and they weren't the same showrunners and
Right.
they weren't like officially acknowledged by Kevin Feige.
No, they don't
and
give
as
a
part of the
shit
MCU.
about Marvel Netflix or Marvel ABC or Marvel
Yeah.
MTV.
This one. It should be
This is
as
Kevin Feige.
surgically done as their films.
They
have been.
literally
Because
took a
it's on
villain from.
Disney Plus,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They literally,
It's show run by Kevin.
they literally absorbed a villain from the Marvel Netflix and were like, "You're Blade."
Yeah.
So that's like obviously it's like that's a big fuck you to Netflix.
Yeah.
I do know that it's taking place in like the 40s.
So you get
Yeah,
WandaVision.
That's cool.
WandaVision is all. I think it was Elizabeth Olsen said something along the lines of, "It's gonna get weird."
Yeah.
I
I was like, I'm
because
ready.
Like,
I
what
think
kinda
it's
weird?
about. I
Just
think
look at
it's
the
about
logo.
the relationship stuff, as far as I know.
So I think they're gonna opposite House of M, which would be really cool.
Explain.
So House of M event is
Ooh.
when all this shit's going on at the Xavier Institute. Go to Genosha, the Magneto like safe haven, right? And Magneto's
That
given
eventually blows up and kills
this,
everybody.
yeah, this Magneto's given this terrible choice of like, and he has to deal with his son Pietro, Quicksilver. Yeah, and
You got it.
Wanda is having like hemorrhages in her head, and her ability in the in the comic books is more reality warping instead of like luck. So
like
she-
the reality stone.
and so she's changing reality as we speak, and she's about to have like a huge like fucking mind blow, and she does. And what she does, like everyone's like, we have to kill her, we can't kill her. Like the X-Men are like, we gotta fucking kill her because she could destroy reality as we know it. And Magneto's like, this is my daughter, and Peter's like, why are you contemplating this? Anyways, so she changes everything, and Wolverine's married to Emma Frost. Everyone goes into their beautiful like perfect worlds.
Mm.
Like Xavier can walk. Miss Marvel is like the most popular hero. Like all these things, and Wolverine's the one that's like, hold on, something's not right, and then breaks it, destroys
His
it.
sixth sense.
Yeah, and then he makes sure
I'm
that
serious,
reality
that's what
comes back to normal. And then Wanda says, "Okay, fine. If I can't have it," she says, "No more mutants." And the reason why is because all this hemorrhaging is happening because she was implanted with memories of her and Vision having a child and that child dying.
Mm-hmm.
But that never happened.
Whoa.
That never happened. But
Super fucked up.
she's losing grip of reality.
Oh.
So WandaVision, again, dealing with the death of her
Vision.
betrothed, and making a new reality in the 40s, right? Because she lives in this like pocket reality.
Right.
It'd be cool to get monitored by maybe Doctor Strange or some shit or somebody. And the events at the end of the show is that like she must break it, and she breaks reality, but she breaks it too far. Multiverse of madness. And by the end of the multiverse of madness, then we start getting other enhanced human beings.
Mhm.
I love
So
it.
I dig it.
opposite of House of M, because at the end of House of M, she says no more mutants, and she literally takes away 99% of all mutant powers.
What?
But they fucking screw that up over, and then they're like, powers are coming back.
There's a cure.
No, there's like my power is back.
Yeah.
Meh.
It's
Just
just
try hard enough.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it'd be cool if they do that.
Wow.
I have nothing more to add to that. That
Wow.
was exactly what I want.
Because Elizabeth Olsen has said she really wanted to do a House of M event movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was like, I would love to do that because you talk about like the loss and the struggle and her playing a more versatile.
I'll be honest, I would be
Scarlet
down
Witch.
for a Scarlet Witch
Yeah.
movie.
I would love to see her
I'd be
actually be
100% honest about
powerful and magic. And you know, you think about it, going back and watching Endgame, she could have whooped the shit at the end.
Oh my God, she had him down.
She had him.
Yeah.
Bring hellfire. Yeah, that's all he could do.
I know.
Yeah.
But then they couldn't let it do it. They couldn't let it. The movie makers were
No.
like, "No, we gotta have
Too easy, baby.
snappy snap."
Too easy.
So it should be
Mhm.
very interesting for
I-
there to be a show
About it.
with her abilities and whatnot. And I'm
Yes.
yeah, I don't know if we'll see if things play out that way, but
Do you think?
I haven't watched it yet, but Corey, I imagine when it's like taking place in the 40s, and if it gets quote unquote weird, like it being a little bit like Legion.
I was just gonna say Legion.
Yeah, Legion.
And
It
maybe
also
a-
reminded me like a mix of if you were going to blend Legion with, I believe it's Fallout 3. There's an entire section where you get put into this machine that puts you into a paradise, and you first you're living your day, and then little things change. Like
Or,
suddenly there's like
Fallout 4.
duplicates. Is it 4?
I believe so.
That
I
you're in
remember
the
there
fake
being
reality?
Yeah,
You're in this fake perfect little
and you're
reality,
playing
and
in
it's
it
in black and
whatnot.
white,
Yeah,
and you're in a cul-de-sac, and everything's fine. And you have like a wife and everything.
Pleasantville.
But then like
and then like you activate something,
you
and then
start
it
seeing
sends you back.
doubles of stuff, and like this
They're breaking
this
the Matrix.
kid outside's on this loop, and even though the world's falling apart, he's still like out there playing, and you're like, what
Yes.
the fuck is happening?
My man.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it sounds a lot like that. I'm in.
Have you guys watched Eureka?
Yes.
I
I've
imagine a little. So
heard
it's like
of,
a like a super smart town and all that shit, but it's all very towny. There's a sheriff, there's a mayor, but they have like the world's greatest technology, but they're like covered in a bubble, so no one could ever know that they have that power. So I kind of imagine it's like where that you get that little hokiness.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of cool.
I'm
in
glad
the
you said
40s.
Legion because that's a fantastic. Show,
Yeah.
by
So
the
it's
way.
like you get that in there.
well, we will
yeah.
see.
Next.
With Doctor Strange 2, Benedict Cumberbatch, Benedict Wong, co-starring, Steven Derrickson directing. It's going to be PG-13, and they said it will be the first horror movie.
Mhm.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Which, yeah, I don't know how horror we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Scott Derrickson is known as a horror director.
Right,
He
he's
did-
got several.
He
under
did
his belt.
Sinister. That was his big claim to
Just
fame.
like
He had
that,
a couple
Ollie.
others as well, I
Yeah.
believe.
I think he did shorts, and then Sinister was his big one.
Yeah.
And then they're like, let's use him, and that's the one I always complain about because I'm like, I can't see what the fuck you're shooting, because it's just silhouetted man. But I mean, the monster's scary and all that shit. But like multiverse of madness, like again, having Scarlet Witch, like if it plays with
creating
that,
multiple realities.
that could
That's
be kind of cool because they talked about branch reality,
right.
and so like he's probably have to like use his 12 arms to
Uh-huh.
bring them all into one
Yeah.
place.
There's also a theory that I read online that they think this is how they're gonna bring Blade in and vampires and stuff like that. It's through multiverse.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool. Yeah, it'd be cool if they talked about like
Because it's the
ultimate.
horror aspect. They're
Yeah.
thinking vampires, werewolves.
That could work.
Well, because that's what happens actually in some runs. On the table, we have Wolverine versus Blade, but a lot of times actually Doctor Strange and Blade work together, and Doctor
Oh.
Strange
That's part of the reason.
works with the Defenders. He like has this Defenders that fights these like otherworldly things, and Blade's usually part of it because Blade's usually just
Vampires.
like fucking doing whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I
like
mean-
Punisher, but vampire Punisher.
I mean, that's how you.
but vampires.
That's how you guarantee that movie's success is to put Blade in it.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
a little
since it's
rude.
on the table right
What?
now, just a real quick, like, since we're
Members
already
only.
talking about Blade, I mean, that was one of like the little nods that they had. That Mahershala. Is that it?
Yeah,
Mahershala
Mahershala
Ali.
Ali.
Was announced as Blade.
Because I say it all the time.
I mean, first of all, shout out to Tom and Corey for kind of calling that out a few episodes ago. Like, wouldn't that be awesome if that happened? And then it happened.
But shout out to Josh's brain that's still blown on the wall.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he talked about
But what's so funny about that is that, again, we don't know anything about that specifically, except for 3 words, BDE, big dick energy.
Jesus Christ.
Nice.
Ali called Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige was like, well, when he calls, you answer. And he basically was like, I want to play Blade.
Yeah.
Wait, Ali called?
Mahershala.
Mahershala
Yeah,
Ali.
I did. There's 2 Ollie's we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mahershala.
fair.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the.
Ollie was collecting
I'm
the
very
templates.
excited about it.
Yeah.
But
That's
Yeah.
super cool.
And
I'm ready
then,
for
yeah,
it.
we'll talk about that a little bit after this.
Next up is Loki. That's me, baby. That's spring of 2021.
Loki.
Quite the wait, but hopefully well worth it. This is, we know a lot about this actually. So if anyone who saw Endgame, we know when this show starts.
Spoilers.
Mhm.
The moment he picks up the Tesseract, which is really interesting because that means we're not getting the Loki we saw in Ragnarok. We're not getting the
That
Loki we saw in
learned
Dark
everything.
World.
Nope.
We're not getting the Loki we saw in Infinity War. We are getting
Loki.
Avengers 2012 Loki,
Who was just beaten
Who has learned
as a rag
nothing.
doll
but
by the
learned
Hulk.
nothing because he got away still.
He's got, it's not
So
the
we
Loki
still
that
have a
said,
villain
Yeah.
as our lead
He was
character.
also just beaten up by the Hulk.
it's
Yeah.
not, it's not Loki who said,
12
Real
minutes.
the
bad.
sun will shine on us again.
He didn't say Odin's son, Loki Odin's son. No, this is the piece of shit 2012 Loki.
So we
Oh
could
my
see him do it
God.
all over again.
So that's what we're getting. We're getting this guy who still hasn't learned anything. It's going to be a time travel show.
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
So we're going to
Marvel.
get different eras. So a lot of people are assuming that the logo, the L, the O, the
Different
K, the I, are hinting at what eras they're going to be in. So there was some different. I won't go too deep into it, but there were some theories that the O in there looks like an industrial. So like, pre or right when the industrial boom happened in the U.S., they think maybe he'll go to that point, the 20th century.
There is
so
that
like
one
1800s.
plant some technology, maybe.
There's
or
that one
something.
promo still, which has one of Corey's favorite movies in the background.
What?
Jaws.
Oh yeah, Jaws.
In the background.
Uh,
So
Space Stone lets you travel time too.
apparently,
Well, the Tesseract allowed him to reach into a different, basically portal.
Oh.
Yeah.
so that time heist is all for naught. You could just use
One stone.
Yeah. Well, he's a trickster god, right? So he can use it in a different way.
I would
than
say,
the
like,
normal
I'm sure
person.
there's
He,
some
hopefully he
about it.
uses Frigga's witch magic. Or
The
something
thing
like that.
I was really interested in is this opens up an opportunity for us to see, even in a cameo, Steve Rogers,
Mhm.
because we're traveling through time.
It's true.
They run into each other.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be like living his life?
And it would be a Steve Rogers that is aware of who
Yes.
he is.
Yeah.
And then where Steve Rogers goes to PBS and is like, I want to make a show for kids. And he's
Yeah,
like,
Mr. Rogers.
He becomes Mr. Rogers.
But I think that could be a really cool little nod to have,
Yeah.
even if he's in the background somewhere. I don't
yeah.
need a scene.
I think that, I mean, you
An
know,
Easter egg is what
in
I'm
terms
saying.
of quote unquote honoring the like their departure and shit like that, I think, I don't know. If they do that, great. I think the most we can expect is probably like, hey, there's a guy named Rogers out there, blah blah. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, never mind.
Like a
Something like
reference
that.
on
You'll
the
do like,
news
like an
or something like
establishing
that.
shot on. I'm thinking of establishing shot on like the street that they live on, and then like the first thing you see is like a man entering that yellow. Is it yellow house?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Entering the house.
It's usually a
You're
blue
like,
house with a
He's
picket
about to go
fence.
dance with her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited about this. I think Loki. I mean, don't get me wrong, Thanos is a great villain, but Loki's always intrigued me.
I
Loki
just want
was
to
the
stare
villain.
at Tom
Yeah.
Hiddleston more.
That's.
I'm
I mean,
happy.
And I'm
that's the
excited
key.
to see
Yeah.
his new trajectory, right, as a character.
Yeah, I'm
He's
excited.
gonna be
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
different at the end of it.
And maybe
it's an anti-hero
Well,
story is how they're
The
describing
cool
it.
thing you could do, and I don't know if we're trying to dance around or not, he shapeshifts.
Yeah.
He could turn to
We're
anybody.
not trying to dance around.
And so the thing that you could do with it too is like have him interact with other Marvel characters as other people. And so like if he does have this positive arc in his character like line and narrative, like have him drop these grand wisdom knowledges to like all these characters. So like he goes to Fury and says like, hey, like don't have a bi-carrier like helicopter thing, have a tri-carrier.
Yeah.
And then like he goes to like,
What if he talks to a young Stark?
yeah, he talks to like,
Won't have any of it.
yeah, or like he talks to Howard Stark. He's like, okay, that name is garbage. Call him Tony. Or stuff
Yeah.
like that. And
Stuff like that. Little Easter eggs for the rest of the
Where he
universe.
starts like grandfathering these kind of things because he knows like this is the way it has to go. And then like, I would like it if like, because what they have done before. It's like where he dies, he actually did like this kind of magic thing where it's like he reverts back to his childhood,
Mhm.
like a child Loki.
Yeah.
And Thor's like an adult, and like Loki's like discovering text messaging for the first time.
Oh my
It's
god.
really cute. But then what adult Loki did was like he left these little like Horcrux things where it's like he would touch it, and then the adult Loki would be like, "So you found me, and now I
Yeah.
tell you like what's going to happen in your life."
Dope.
And so if that were to happen, like these little hints that happen, like this is what your future may come, and then maybe some cosmic beings like, don't look too far into your future. You're in the past for a reason.
I also wouldn't mind another scene with like how Thor got his scene with his mom.
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind if Loki got a scene with his dad.
But I
I think that actually leads to the conversation of reinsert him into the films,
Mhm.
possibly.
Not
Could
even.
be
I
in Love
don't
and
even
Thunder.
need him reinserted. I would just love a kind of a closure thing because they never got that right.
Yes.
Right.
Thor was always the
Between
favorite
them
son,
two.
even though he loved Loki.
Mhm.
And he told. I mean,
Well, it'd be cool like if again like Loki changes how he looks and he goes to Scotland,
where was it?
where
Oh,
where
yeah,
the
the
cliffs
Oh,
of
yeah.
Norway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Norway.
he's who sees Odin before they do. Like he sees him off before,
and
them.
then
and then
then
they
he-
two come,
he like
has his moment.
not like that.
You know what I mean? Like maybe he talks to like Loki as a guard and says like, you know, blah blah, what's happening to you? It's like this is what's happened, da 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 da, or all that shit. Maybe he's one of the stowaways that's on the Asgardian ship as an Asgardian or as a whatever
Yeah,
the fuck.
I dig
Yeah.
that. There's a lot of possibilities with this, and it's probably the show I'm most excited for. out of
It would
all
be
the
interesting to
shows.
see if
Mhm.
Taika has any involvement.
He might.
Because I know Taika has a lot of involvement during what the characters have become.
Mhm.
So
And we'll get to that later. But
Yeah.
anything else anyone wants to add to Loki? Otherwise,
Other
Nope.
than we're excited.
we got what if?
Yeah. What if?
What if?
That's it. No. What if is coming summer 2021, and it is coming to Disney Plus, and it will
Another
be
show.
animated,
Oh.
and it will be the first Marvel animated property that is actually managed by Marvel Studios.
Wow.
Part of the MCU.
because Avengers Assemble and Ultimate Spider-Man,
Yeah.
they don't give a shit about.
Again, not a lot known except for it's kind of like those conversations that you have with your friends that like, oh, what if this character did this instead? Like kind of based off like one-off comic book ideas where it's like, oh, what if?
We actually had an episode
what
on
was
our
the-
update based on that where we
Mhm.
answered a question. Check that out.
Check it out.
What
But
was?
yeah, almost the entire MCU cast is involved
They
in
will
some way.
reprise their roles.
Wow.
Yes.
From the horse's mouth. One of the stories is going to be what if Peggy Carter got the soldier serum,
Dope.
You can call her Captain America.
and and I'm
Whoa.
sure she'll come back to voice it.
Yeah.
Oh, my
whatever.
goodness.
Jeffrey Wright
Haley
will
Atwell, right?
yeah. Jeffrey Wright will play the
Bailey
Watcher,
Atwell.
Ooh, yeah.
who
Yeah.
will be kind of a narrator type.
Mm.
He's kind of looking
Yes.
over, let's say,
He's-
watching.
Well, he's a watcher.
Hmm.
And it's kind of, we don't know. He may or may not intervene, but yeah, we
I'm
don't
down
know
for
much
it.
about
But
it.
he's narrator
Huh.
at the very least.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Sounds
Yeah.
cool.
And he's
He'll
got
be
a dope
common thread.
voice, so
His name is Uatu. Yeah.
Uatu.
But then the cool thing that happens with the Watcher is like he fucking dies. And then Nick Fury takes his eyeball and then learns all the secrets of the universe.
What?
Yeah.
And then
Who knows if that's going to happen
That's
in
going to be the
this.
season finale. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. One would say,
because
what
that,
if?
that
Yeah.
leads into something we're talking about at the
What if?
end that Corey's excited about.
Yes, it does.
So, anyways,
Fair.
Not
Not a
anyone
whole
else want to add to what if, or we want to move on?
No.
No, I'm just
Anything that
excited to see an
you-
animated
Oh, if you look,
animated series that's actually MCU.
the high
For
res. So there's a high res logo for all of these.
Did we say when that's coming?
Find it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Find it online for What's If. Look in the top left corner. There's a little zombie Captain America up there.
What?
Corey's looking it up.
Little zombo guy
Interesting.
up there in the corner.
I don't have it yet.
Little Marvel
Interesting.
zombies, maybe.
I want to see it.
All right.
What if?
So what if, I think you're next, right?
Yeah.
Hawkeye?
What if Hawkeye was a show? It is,
Whoa.
Wow.
and it's coming fall 2021.
Disney Plus.
Yes, the farthest out show, which you can kind of extrapolate whatever you want from that. But it is it's going to be starring Jeremy Renner, and it's going to be mostly focusing on his relationship with his daughter.
Who is
Oh.
actually Hawkeye?
Yes, and if you pay attention, he's never referred to as Hawkeye
He only
throughout it. The Hawk is the closest thing by the Doctor. It's like the Hawk, he's up there in his thing. It's in Avengers 1. And then he calls his daughter Hawkeye when she hits the bullseye at the
Is he
beginning of
never called
Endgame.
Hawkeye?
Nope.
No,
That's
he's
why
never
I
called
mean,
Hawkeye.
don't you know that why I made a joke? It's like the character that no one wants to say his name
No,
apparently.
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
S-
They call him
um,
Clint.
Yeah.
And
I
then
mean,
he
maybe in
calls
press
himself
junkets
Clint
and
all the
stuff.
time.
Yeah, but in the films,
Yeah.
It's never. Yeah.
No,
It's
even-
always Clint or Barton.
No, even in the credits, it's Clint Barton.
Is it really? That's
Yeah, in movies, always it says Clint Barton. Like
Huh.
everyone says Iron Man, Tony Stark, Captain America, Steve Rogers, it's Clint
Clint
Barton.
Barton.
I'm like, God damn it.
because he knows.
Well, I mean, whatever.
What's
I
the
mean,
daughter's name? Crap, I forgot.
Hawkeye.
Maya Angelou.
It's something
Yep.
Barton. Starts with the L, I think. You'll look it up.
Lula.
But,
Lila.
well,
Lily?
the rumor is that
Lula Barton.
that the name of Hawkeye is going to belong to her, and it's the father training the daughter
Mhm.
to become
I'm down.
Hawkeye, as what IMDb says is one of the first young Avengers.
Her name is Kate. I don't know where you
Kate.
got L from.
I don't know.
It's the next letter.
Kate. There you go. Close enough.
Kate Bishop,
Kate
who
Bishop.
we all saw, and when we talked about Old Man Logan, who was almost going to kill him with the shotgun, butt of a shotgun,
Oh.
Yeah.
who wore the Spider Woman
Yeah.
suit.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, a young Avenger, which I think all the films are kind of start leading to. Spider-Man becoming a new guy, and Captain America becoming, or Sam Wilson becoming the new Cap. So it's like these all new, all different,
Which is our only clue. And like Tom mentioned, he informed me that IMDb is not always written, or the synopses there are not written by the studios. But if it is, the first mention we've ever heard of like something Avengers post Endgame. Because as you'll find out, as we'll talk about the last entry in Phase 4, there's no like culminating movie at the end of this phase, which is the first for our MCU phase. But yeah, not a whole lot of information from Hawkeye. I'm looking forward to
Except
it.
that
I'm
we're
a big
pumped.
fan of Jeremy Renner, and I'm excited
So
for
many
a
things
Do
to
you
be
think it's
excited
going to
about.
be
Female
about
Hawkeye, so.
him?
and Budapest.
No.
no.
Dealing with like coming home after and dealing with
I think that's
the,
part of
the
it.
loss of Matt
Um,
and
I think it'd be cool.
trying to find a way to get her back.
Who?
Nat.
Nah,
I don't think it'll go there.
I think it'd be cool if they do like a Dark Knight
Maybe.
Returns, where he's the old man and he's in this world that needs heroes and shit like that, and he doesn't do it, but he's been training Kate, and she's like, "Why don't you go out there and do it?" He's like, "That's not my path anymore," and then she takes it up, and then she starts doing like
I
night
dig that.
runs.
yeah,
and
as
shit
long
like
as they
that.
focus on the daughter, I think that
Well,
would work.
She starts doing it, and he's like, "No, don't do that." And he's a big hypocrite because he used to do that shit.
Right.
He's like, "When I did, it was government funded and bankrolled by Tony Stark." And then all of a sudden, she's like, "Well, I'm doing it a different way. This is the new way. This is the new Avengers."
Bankrolled by Shield.
as
you're gonna
long
do
as
it
they
just
do it
like
like
that,
that,
yeah.
I'm okay.
Exactly like that.
So
He was bankrolled by Iron Man.
Yeah.
Shield
After.
didn't do shit.
the
Shield got
beginning.
blown up.
Last but
not
not
least.
least, we have Thor: Love and Thunder coming November 5th, 2021.
For the record, the one that I'm most anticipating.
Me too.
I'm anticipating that'll come out.
Directed and probably written by Taika Waititi. Apparently had been reading the comics for this during the filming of the first Thor Ragnarok and was
Which
so
is
excited to
awesome.
do this story that
He pulled a
as soon
George
as
Miller.
as soon as they finished filming Thor, he went to Kevin and was like, "Okay, how do we do this? Because I want to do this so badly." We have Chris Hemsworth returning as Thor Odinson. We have Tessa Thompson returning as Valkyrie, and the big reveal is we have Natalie Portman returning to the MCU as Jane Foster Thor, or as she's going to be called in this, according to Taika, Mighty Thor,
The mighty Thor.
the Mighty Thor. So, according to a tweet,
I feel bad because I have these comic books on the table, and I have the issue 1 like with the original picture. I bought
Yeah.
it for one of their episodes.
Yeah.
I was like, why did I break it today?
so just a little bit surrounding. We don't know anything about the story really.
But it'll have Love and Thunder.
have Love and Thunder.
Makes sense.
I know that Tessa Thompson talked a bit about being king of Asgard and finding her queen, so I'm excited about that. But the little bit of tidbit that I found out was that Natalie Portman, done with the MCU after Dark World, had such a minuscule little send off in Ragnarok. But apparently, Taika was the one who convinced her to come back. So they
Wow.
had Kevin set her up with a meeting with Taika, and it took one meeting of them talking about this script, and that was that. She was
Wow.
in. So I not only have a lot of confidence in Taika, but in the story itself.
I'm very happy they got Natalie back.
Oh yeah,
Like
she's gonna crush
that
it.
wouldn't have worked without it.
She's gonna crush it.
Yeah, I'm
Jane
super
Foster Thor.
excited.
It sounds like what Toy Story 4 wanted to be.
It's also
Okay.
interesting.
Wow.
Well, it's interesting
All
because this
right.
is the first fourth film.
Yeah, that's
That's true.
That's my biggest excitement. This is the first ever 4th film.
Quadrilogy. There's
of
a Thor
anybody.
quadrilogy.
Not even
Yeah.
that, because
So many numbers
it,
now.
It opens, they're like, there might be a 5th one. There might
Yeah.
be a
There's-
6th one.
There you
Well,
have it.
Chris Hemsworth has said he doesn't want to stop doing this role.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
And you just brought Natalie Portman back into the
Yeah.
mix.
exciting.
Like
Like,
his character change, like
Ragnarok.
with the
Where he was at.
with the events of Infinity War and Endgame, his
Yeah.
character is in a different place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
than he
Ragnarok, I'd say
was.
Ragnarok too. Include that in there because that changed
Ragnarok was
everything
the-
as far
yeah.
as the character goes.
A lot.
That's where
That's-
where
I mean,
he
it
lands.
changed the character completely.
Not everything. He still had a dead mom.
Not, I don't mean. You know what I'm fucking talking about. It changed. It allowed Chris Hemsworth to take a huge stride with the character, and I think
Mhm.
understand it at a fundamental level.
Yeah.
And allowed him to play the character in Infinity War and Endgame. Without Ragnarok, he couldn't have done that.
I think it gave a deeper depth to it. I would say like the Thor Ragnarok Thor is a little different from the comic book Thor.
Yeah.
And as we got to Infinity War, like we have that backing and understanding of it. Where like now, to me, this is closer to the comic book Thor it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been the arrogant asshole gun. And he's like, let's fight for Valhalla and shit like that. And then also with Thor Ragnarok, it gave that levity, that humanistic standpoint of like this reverence for his
What
family.
happens if I fail?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
But
know.
even then, he didn't fail in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
He learned a little bit,
But
but,
he
he
failed
didn't
in
learn
Infinity War.
anything until Infinity War. Yeah.
Mm.
he failed twice.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Um,
So anyone,
so that's that.
everyone at
That's
home
Phase 4.
that's wondering why does Jane Foster become Thor? What happened in the comic books?
We
gives a
told
shit?
him
It's
he could
dope.
say that phrase as long as he says it like that.
Yeah.
So what happens in the comic books is Uatu, the Watcher, dies. He washes up ashore, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, what happened? Where's his other eye and shit?" And everyone's going crazy because they know that the secrets that eyeball has seen everything, right? But also prior to this event, Thor fought this guy named Gore, and I was like, "What the fuck is this guy?" He's like, "I'm going to become the God Slayer, and no gods are real." And fight. Thor beats the shit out of him. But then later on, Nick Fury is revealed to have the Eye of Uatu and has the secrets and shit. And he single-handedly destroys the Avengers just by like knowing like, I know how to turn off your suit. I know how to like just like fight Captain America. I know how to do all that shit because he has the fucking thing. And you find out like there's other Nick Furies and shit like that. Anyways, but he instantly makes Thor unworthy. And remember, that was a big part of Endgame where he
Whoa.
becomes
Yeah.
worthy, where he's still worthy no matter what. No matter how big or how hairy he got or how drunk he got, he was still worthy. And he whispers to Thor's ear and says, "Gore was right." And what that meant was that Gore said there are no gods anymore. And it's because Gore came from a planet where they praised Odin and Frigga and all these Asgardian gods, and none of them ever came
Showed
down
up.
to like reign like on their desolate planet, and people
Save them.
died. Yeah, and so he was pissed. He was angry at the gods. He was a non-believer, right? So it was huge, and like gods, require their power from the faithful. And Thor heard that, and instantly the hammer just dropped
'Cause he
and he
doubted
couldn't pick him
himself.
up. Couldn't pick it up. He doubted himself. But then at the end of that event, someone picks up the hammer, just like Captain America. But instead, it was a woman, and we're like, "Who the fuck is this woman with black lipstick with this fucking dope ass helmet who never takes it off?" Do you hear something, Thor? Anyways, so Thor becomes like the Odin son Thor, and he has a fucking metal arm at this point because his arm got chopped off and shit. And he has to go fight. It's like a spirit quest. And he ends up meeting like all these other Thors, so King Thor, young Thor, Thor that didn't even have a hammer, and then you find out that Jane Foster is becoming Thor. But the thing is, the more she's Thor, she's actually succumbing to cancer. And so whenever she like let goes of the hammer, she has like the wrap around her head. She's like sickly and stuff like that. And it's this kind of taking time bomb of like the more she's heroic, the more it starts killing her.
All Might.
Yeah, so it's I was like, when you said that, I just jizzed my pants. Sorry, everyone.
Oh my god.
It's also Spawn.
But the really cool the really cool
Deadpool.
thing in the comic books, I don't know if they're gonna do this in the movies, that like Odin hates her. Odin's like not about. It's like, no, you're not Odin's son Thor. Not because like you're not my son, but it's like you don't deserve the power.
Right.
And it's kind of like that huge like
You're
you're
I'm not fucking Odin.
you're a woman, blah blah blah. And like she like goes with the Warriors 3 and it's like, hey, I am Thor now. I am the defender of Asgard, and fights off like these strong ass dudes, and then like actually like puts her life on the line so many times for Asgard, and Odin's like gets her like. She earns Odin's respect, which she never had to.
Yeah.
But later on, like when new events happen and Thor got the hammer back, then he's like, "Wait, where the hell's Jane Foster?" I was like, "Fuck you, son. Where's Jane Foster?" So it's like a really
Yeah.
cool thing. And then
And didn't she go to Thor and she was like, "How do I
yeah,
be
she
Thor?" And he
well-
was like, "You don't be Thor. Be your Thor."
for a while she was in Asgard and she was like still sick and cancerous, and he was like, "I don't have the hammer anymore," and blah blah blah. And then it was all a secret, and she kept it from him for a long time.
Mm.
And then later on, when it became like known, he was like, "How?" And it's like, "How long?" Blah blah. And he's like, "Okay." And then she later confides in him and shit like that. And yeah, that's a big thing. It's
I
like
love that moment.
I got to stop asking what would Thor do and start asking what would Jane Foster would do.
Yeah. Another thing, just since we're on the subject of different Thors, with the Eternals and cracking open space in Marvel,
And
you know what I'm
multiverses.
excited for?
Oh, some horse people. Some
horse-
jackal
some
faced
Beta Ray
motherfucker.
Bill. Like
Oh,
that would make
I
me
thought there was a weird
so happy.
furry thing that you hadn't told us about
Yeah,
yet.
a
Yeah,
little
there
bit,
is
a little bit. We could be
Beta
about it.
Ray Bill. A little
Okay,
bit.
that's fine.
Horse Thor.
Yeah.
All right.
I would pay Marvel. I want you to fucking listen. Pay attention to me. I will give you
Listen now.
everything in my savings account if you put Jane Foster Thor, and Beta Ray Bill all on the screen at the same time.
That would be the third movie as a fucking Thor crossover
Yes.
event. Oh!
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Like, I'm very excited. I just want to see the three of them on screen together before Hemsworth leaves, before Natalie Portman leaves, whatever. Make it happen.
Just call it all the Thors.
I'll give you. I will basically pay you child support for the
Call
next
it-
18 years.
Wow.
If you make
Wow.
that happen.
Call
Wow.
it
For me.
Thor, and Thor. Thor 4. Thor
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Thor
Wow.
5. Oh my god.
It
That'd
could
be
be in the winter, and it could be called Cold Thors.
Oh my god.
Oh my!
Well, whatever it is, it's
know
They'd
the
have to
drill,
dress
as
differently.
always.
No, they'd have to. They would have to. You'd have to like give them slightly different. Yeah. Anyway,
I think it'll be epic enough to finish out Phase 4 in
Yeah,
some-
I have a
in
feeling that it's
grand
going to
fashion.
be pretty. If
Yeah.
but
I'm curious to see Thor's reaction to Jane
Yeah.
Foster Thor. Be like,
It's
are
gonna be a
you
wild time.
Well,
dressed as me for Halloween or something? And
Yeah.
she could be like, I'm not wearing hockey pants.
I think it would be really cool. Like Thor becomes Odin, you know, the new All Father
Yeah.
of Asgard and stuff like in space, and Valkyrie becomes the All Father of, and Valkyrie's All Father of Asgard 2, which is Asgardia, and Jane Foster becomes the new Defender of Earth, and Beta Ray Bill becomes the new what is that? Jane
Horse
Foster
guy.
becomes the Thor of Asgard
Yeah.
1, and then Beta Ray Bill becomes the Asgardia
Yeah.
Thor.
I just want to see them all on screen together. Anyway, that was my last little bit of that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. November 5th, 2021.
So that's Phase 4. That wraps us there.
well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
As we're opening up a conversation of
Yeah.
furtherness, I mean, is this something that could change? Because I mean,
It
this
can.
is 2 years.
It can.
ish.
It
I
can,
think he
most
warned.
likely not.
But yeah.
The two things that will happen: either something will get pushed a month further, or pushed a month
Earlier.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
far
I
as
think
like
that's it.
something to the effect of like the Inhumans coming off the slate, I don't think we'll see something that dramatic.
I
Yeah.
think
Because that wasn't MCU, right? That was.
It
was.
was originally.
It was supposed to be a movie,
you're right, you're right,
and then
you're
they're
right.
like, let's do a show, and then
Sorry, I was thinking of New Mutants.
Oh yeah.
So I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I'm imagining Thor: Love and Thunder is going to be a pretty. I'm not going to say a massive event, but it's going to have a lot to
I
it.
think it will be.
Great.
It's going to be amazing, but it's going
People-
to.
I think there's
open up
elements
Thor.
from Eternals. I think there's elements from Loki, Doctor Strange, that are all going into this.
Right.
People
Yeah.
want to see Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson. People freaking love Thor,
Yeah.
especially now. And
He became my favorite after Ragnarok. I was
Yeah.
like, oh
Mhm.
shit.
I mean,
he was
I
last
wouldn't-
on my list, and now he's my favorite.
I wouldn't be surprised if Love and Thunder became like a Civil War event,
Oh,
like where it takes place on
I also
Earth.
can I just say I also love the aesthetic of the title.
I know. Oh
Yeah.
my god,
look
I
of that
loved it.
title
I
is
fell in love
just
immediately. Love it first sight.
AC/DC,
Like
Pantera.
70s rock.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I'm into it.
So good.
I mean, and then the other thing is, are the TV shows? They're basically going to be disconnected from the cinematic universe.
No.
Or-
No.
Well, I mean, like,
They feed into each other.
okay.
They're not
They're all
Netflixing
times.
it.
They are MCU Phase 4 property.
They
Yeah.
said fuck you.
So
Netflix.
they may
They
reference
said fuck me.
100%.
each other.
They're going to
100%.
reference
I think
other.
that's-
I mean, like for instance, like WandaVision leading right up into.
Doctor
You know,
Strange.
I think that's
Madness,
the only way they're getting away with not having singular movies for those characters.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
that they're going to do TV shows, so they do mini arcs with them.
So I'm looking at the release schedule. So spring 2021, and then Doctor Strange and in the Multiverse of Madness. Like, it's probably the finale's going to air, and then the next
That's what
week
Kayla
the
and I
movie.
said.
yeah.
Yeah.
no, I'm not.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to be matter of fact, but Kaylin said that.
Rewind the
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yes.
that's exactly what they're doing with Mandalorian. Mandalorian comes out. It's like their Disney Plus launch, and it comes out exactly before Rise of Skywalker. So it's like watch this shit before you watch that,
Y'all,
and then
I'm
after that shit, they're gonna be like,
excited for
here's
The
the fucking next
Mandalorian.
show, which is I don't know where the fuck. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Loki.
Winter Soldier. No,
Mhm.
it's not.
Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can talk about that just briefly. So there's
5.
fewer films,
Uh-huh.
but it's also less time. I think. Like Phase 3, I think was longer.
Well,
time-wise.
yeah. I mean, you call it less, but each
It's
show
2 a
is
year.
an
You still
hour
get-
long.
Right.
You're
You still get-
technically yes, less movies, but more content.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
All in all.
did you watch all the Netflix Marvel? Cool. That's what I thought.
No, I mean
Because they're hour-long things in the 13 episodes, and it's like you could have been fucking 10, and it still would have been too long.
I'm in no way saying that it's a negative.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited that we're getting a lot more MCU like hours worth.
Yeah.
So I don't have any issues.
And
with
that
it.
aren't Defenders always felt shoehorned
It
to
did.
me.
Defenders, the show itself, yeah, but I think Daredevil and Jessica Jones had their own way.
Those
but then,
two, but like Luke Cage felt shoehorned into the MCU,
Sweet Christmas,
and so did Iron Fist.
Yoga Fist.
For
Yeah,
me.
those felt a
They
little.
felt like,
rushed.
oh, these are totally in that same universe.
No.
The event,
But what would have been cool is they
Yeah.
killed
the incident.
they destroy off Luke Cage and
What they called the
and
event?
What like
they
the
called it
Super Bowl?
the attack.
The
The attack on New York, which everyone called it that.
The
But they
incident.
did Heroes for Hire for fucking Luke Cage and Iron Fist, which was happening to Iron Fist 2, season
Yeah.
2, which they didn't fucking do.
No.
Yeah, I mean the shows always referenced the movies, but it was never.
No, they were
Never
like, no.
reversed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It always felt a little one-sided.
They got to do that
Yeah, it
foreplay.
was
And
always
this is
one-sided.
going to be interweaved.
Yeah, it was like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Interwoven.
was like cleaning up the events after the Dark World
Yeah.
and like
Yeah. So
Um,
where do we want to go from here?
But anyways, just wanted to kind of, I mean, we don't have, obviously have like no information, but I just want to quickly touch on Beyond Phase 4. What I assume
we talking about
is,
Blade or what's going on with that?
I think we want to talk about Blade.
Braid.
Did you want to say something?
I
anything about
said
Blade?
what I
Yeah,
said what
I
I was
mean-
gonna say. I mean,
It's starring Mahershala Ali, and it's coming whenever it comes.
I'm just okay. So I love that Wesley Snipes is all about it.
Yeah.
He is like sent his love and support of Mahershala taking over. Told his fans to chill. Was
Chillax.
like, yo, it's gonna be
Verbatim,
fine.
chillax
Yeah,
with a couple A's.
chillax
they wanted
with a
him to
few
come
A's.
back.
Yeah.
Which like, yeah, of course. But there's, I mean, not to throw shade here, but there's no way they would hire someone with that much of a liability on their hands.
Oh,
The
yeah.
events of Blade 3 are fucking insane.
Well, I mean, at that
he's a
point-
different person,
you're
obviously.
I would
confusing.
say J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
Same thing.
but
Yeah.
that's because it was
But
like
he's
a
not a liability.
treasured-
The third one is not a treasured movie in any case.
Oh, it's.
Fair.
I'm not talking
That's
about the
right.
movie
I'm
I'm
itself.
talking about
Itself?
working with
I'm talking about
Wesley Snipes.
his actions on set. He choked David Goyer.
Oh yeah.
He only spoke to him in
Oh,
notes
right.
that he signed Blade.
and
He
he wouldn't
came
like
to the
open
set
his
4
eyes or
hours
something.
late, and he came to set blazed out of his mind.
What?
Because Blaze
Wouldn't memorize his lines.
There was like parts where he wouldn't open his eyes, so they had to like have CGI
Yeah, they had to
open.
CGI his eyes open
Yeah.
because he wouldn't open his eyes during the scene. So I get it. I
I
get
mean,
why they
even
hired
from a
someone
character
else.
standpoint, he's supposed to age differently.
Yeah.
So I mean, Wesley Snipes is older, unless they wrote
Yeah.
the character that he was older.
That's
and
true.
it
Which
was
I could be
There's
cool
a
with the
lot of
multiverse. I could have been
issues.
cool with it, but I get why they didn't do it. Of course, I also wanted to see Wesley Snipes back, but once I saw Alita and I saw that scene of the limo door closing with Mahershala, I was like, that's Blade.
I would say, I mean, in terms of, and this is kind of a sore subject, it's like compared to like Ron Perlman and David Harbour and the passing of that character
Yeah, that
down.
was rough.
It's not a sweet story. Like with Wesley Snipes, at least he has the levity of being like, no, fucking welcome
was
to the
given the
Daywalker
blessing.
Club.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
I
It's like-
I really respected what he did with
Yeah,
that.
and I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I would love it, and I would say like this, it's not throwing any shade at any character. And the tough thing is like, Iron Man will never be a Batman for me
Mhm.
because Batman is so much mentally. It's like James Bond, right? Like
Mhm.
Batman gets you in the seat. Robert Downey Jr. gets me in the seat for Iron Man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the tough thing. Is like Iron Man and Captain America will never become mantles for me at this point. Maybe in the next 10 years. But if Blade starts going that way, Spider-Man unfortunately has become that because of the mishandling of like, fucking less than 10 years, we're rebooting it already, right? And it's like, all right, and then we have 3 fucking Spider-Mans in like 10 years, which is like
yeah, Ali
one
said
thing or
something
another.
on another episode the other day.
He
where
says-
he goes, "This is the third, second
Second.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
movie."
Yeah.
He said it on our Spider-Man episode.
I was like, Jesus
It is.
Christ.
But yeah, and so like with
in 10 years or whatever.
with Batman, it's like there's been, the West, and
years.
then there's Keaton, and then, like it's kind of felt like each one gave it their all in a sense, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And they had their mentals in such a prideful way. I would love if Blade became that, or like,
Yeah.
with MCU, it's not really in the cards for it to become that because like they wanted to have this continuation. But like, what other character other than Superman is like a mantle passed down by all these characters? It's like the Hamlet, right? We talked about that in San Diego Comic-Con. Joker is the Hamlet of
Yeah.
modern day movies. Where It's like everyone wants to give a go at it.
My big thing for Blade is, are they going to go rated R? Are they going to?
I
So
would love to.
there's a lot of rumors that that Feige wants to go 13.
Yeah.
Because obviously it'll sell more. But
Yeah.
I don't think you can do just like I think this whole time Wolverine needed to be rated R. You have giant blades on your hands.
Mhm.
PG-13 is a joke.
Yeah.
That's why Logan was so good, because you just got to see what having
Unleashed.
giant, sharp, indestructible blades on your hands
Actually,
The
does.
dude through someone's head.
Yeah,
And
it's the same
arthritis.
thing with vampires and swords. Like
Right.
you're gonna have a hard time conveying
Yeah.
the
if you have to use a silver
gravity
sword or
of it
whatever
all.
it is to like cut through
Yeah.
and chop off limbs.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
of a
silver, so it's a
vampire.
vampire.
They
It
can still.
doesn't-
I mean, like
it
they don't
cuts
even
like
need to do the blood. I mean, because when he cuts through them with the sword, they like burn,
disintegrate.
right? They
Okay.
disintegrate.
So give
But
us a
still, you're gonna have vampires biting people. Like, how are you
copy-paste dusting effect.
ever gonna compete with a line like some motherfuckers just trying to ice skate
Skate
uphill?
uphill.
Like, you need it. You need it.
I would say this too. I think the one person that could probably convince Kevin Feige to make it rated R, Tim Miller, who did Deadpool
Tim
1.
Miller.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because he's
I mean,
the one
that's
that,
kind of the part of the conversation too, right? Because Deadpool is now in the MCU.
yeah.
They're gonna keep. They said they're gonna keep
They
it
keep
R.
him rated R.
Wow.
Is this their opportunity to go like a Marvel Knights kind of spin off?
It's so I get why they keep Deadpool R, because you have a fan base built in. If you change that, you're alienating a fan base.
But this is their chance.
But
to
this is their
start-
chance to start
That's what I'm
fresh.
saying.
So they're fighting for that PG-13.
Right. Fair.
I think it's wrong. I think it should
Right.
be R. But I get why they're fighting for it, because they can be like, if we can establish it now, people will accept it.
I mean, the
Yeah.
thing is, like, Blade is the most anti-hero they've ever had on a slot.
Yeah.
Right. I'm literally asking
so far.
because like there's
Yeah.
not like Captain America's. I know I chop off
You're right.
motherfuckers' heads with my shield. Like Iron Man, I shoot people with my missiles, but you don't get to see it because you see explosions. So it's like, oh, they
as
just
far as
blew
anti-hero,
away.
yeah.
Yeah.
This
So
is-
it's like
this is
he's
it.
the most violent of them all. So it's like, why not? It's gonna be really hard to like. I use a Boken staff. So it's like fucking.
It's.
just
I mean,
hit me
the,
with
the only
wooden
thing,
swords.
the only
Yeah.
issue I see is like, this is Phase 5, and the big event is Blade, and your 13-year-old kid that loves Marvel and watches every single one of these movies can't see it.
Mhm. That's gonna be their
No,
big
you can
pull.
watch Radar with the parent.
But
Yeah.
but would you
people
want
won't-
your?
Some people won't want.
I
their
mean,
kids
there's
to see
ratings
it.
are like parents don't want
I
their
get
kids
it.
exposed to
I get
chopping
it.
off
That
limbs.
still happens.
And
where
blood.
parents are like, no, I won't take them to.
Right.
a
But I mean,
rated
when
R
you're in a
movie.
studio and you're looking at
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the
America.
easiest
Just from
so
a business
here's
standpoint.
right,
Yeah.
my way around that is don't make Blade your big event. Put him in the other movies, but don't make him the
don't make him
don't make the big event
any-
rated R.
any
You can still
bigger
fit
than
rated R
anything
movies
else.
and rated R characters into PG-13 movies.
I would
Yeah.
also still say Deadpool. I think is still popular with kids.
It's fair. Because also this is very far out. It might be another 4.
Actually, when I
years.
went and saw Deadpool, most of the theater was filled with kids.
Yeah, I think my nephew, who's like 9 years
Comedy
old,
has
likes it.
come to a point where kids are more acceptable with words and stuff.
Well, the thing
like
is,
that.
again, it's like you're not dealing with.
it's also a superhero
you're not-
movie, so it's like
I want to live in that world.
Does Deadpool?
I want a rated R Blade.
Does Deadpool deal with like rape and children trafficking and like
no.
So it's like
few
it's
sex
just blood
jokes
and language. Like
Also, fair
these are
enough.
things
like,
you're gonna come across.
Titanic was Titanic R?
I don't know.
PG-13, I think.
Is one booby okay for PG-13?
I guess.
Is that how it works?
Or
Anyways.
maybe it is R. You're right. I forgot
Um,
about the boobies.
Regardless,
Movies!
we have
Movies
other
and
movies.
movies.
Of course,
New podcast
he
coming out.
couldn't. Kevin Feige couldn't leave the stage without also dropping a few other bombs, like that they're making Captain Marvel 2,
Mm-hmm.
that they're making Black
I don't
Panther
think those
2.
are bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Guardians of
That's
the
not-
Galaxy.
By the way,
Those are-
3.
those are
I
all,
can't
like,
take
yeah,
sole
no
credit
shit.
for that. My wife and I have a game that we play called Boobies and Movies, and we have to name movies
Yeah.
that have boobies.
Okay,
In them. Yeah.
fair.
I
So-
think
Wow.
all
I
the
just
thing-
wanted to
like-
make sure I didn't take full credit.
like
That
to
was
me
her-
like so
her
go
idea.
so Black Panther
Yeah,
2,
Black
all
Panther
these other
2,
things.
Captain Marvel 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3,
Mhm.
Fantastic Four,
That's to me that's a big one.
and the Mutants.
Yeah.
That's another big one.
And
People are pulling that they're going to call it Mutants. I think he just said Mutants because he doesn't have a title for like a movie yet.
yeah,
So he's just saying like the category topic of
I would love to
mutants.
just call it X.
Sure.
Extra.
Tom and I have had fan casting for Fantastic Four for quite some time.
Mm.
So
I mean,
I'm
I
excited.
align with the,
There's a big,
the popular one.
Yeah,
The popular one.
Yeah.
That's the- yeah,
Krasinski and Emily
Krasinski
Blunt
and
for
Emily
everyone
Blunt.
that lives under a rock.
I don't agree with all of them, but yes, I do agree with that. Those two.
Who's your thing in Johnny Storm?
Thing is the guy from Walking Dead.
The
orange
red-hair
hair,
guy.
Red hair
Oh.
guy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
my
Oh, him?
He's my thing.
Okay.
He's my thing.
He didn't have to
And
change color.
I don't have a solidified answer
Wow.
for Human Torch, but I want it to be not a white guy.
Chris Evans.
Wow.
That is the whitest guy I can think of.
Wow.
And also is in the
Simon Pegg.
MCU already,
But,
and
yeah.
also played Human Torch already.
I would love it to be cast as some like I loved Michael B. Jordan. I thought that was great casting.
Yeah.
So something along those lines would be great. Maybe an unknown.
Maybe.
That would be really cool to have.
That's their chance.
I would have to say they have to be British, or you do the adopted thing like the Miles Teller one did. Because
Yeah.
Emily Blunt's his sister.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, adopted, whatever it is, however you want to work it out, do
Just
it.
do it.
Just play it 90s safe and do
Just-
Matt Damon.
Do it.
Or what
I'll-
if she's adopted?
Maybe she's adopted.
Instead.
I was saying, I don't know why. I was like Terry Crews as Ben Grimm. It's clobbering. Like, imagine him saying that.
I just want Terry Crews around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you guys
the
think
time.
that sounds like Phase 5?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. Black Panther, what was the other? Captain Marvel,
Marvel
and then
2.
Guardian Galaxy. I'm like, no shit.
And
They
then,
have
like,
to make them.
Yeah.
Possibly
Fantastic
further
Four.
seasons of what we already have.
I think-
maybe
seasons,
with new
new
shows.
shows.
Some of them new shows probably.
I think, yeah. I think you probably start out with Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That's how you start 5. It's like, boom, here it is, right? And then you do like Captain
Can
Marvel.
they bring
that
in
leads
the
in-
X-Men?
I don't know.
Will we see Fantastic Four characters inside of Phase 4?
I think we might see
Nods.
some people. Like they might talk about Latveria.
Like Reed Richards buying the Avengers Tower?
No, what the fuck?
No.
Call it the Baxter Building.
Yes.
Well,
Josh?
you saying introducing the X-Men, because I mean, we have these X-Men movies and blah 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 that are recent. Like this is, so let's say Phase 5 would start 2022.
Yeah.
So that's 3-4 years. Is that enough
March or something.
time?
February, March.
You're probably looking at
Given
5
some air.
I would
Do you
say
kind
that
of
the
feel like-
Fantastic Four would probably be 5 years. Yeah.
Do you know how long-
Because Feige said,
Fantastic Four is closer to us.
"Oh, okay.
X-Men is farther.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, can they use the Fantastic Four as a gateway to introduce the mutant gene?
Do you?
Do they need to? Is there
they
story
could be
elements?
yes.
So, quick question. I'm gonna answer your question. Do you know how long it took to make Captain Marvel? They announced it in 2014, so it took them 4 years.
So he's saying
we
the
have time.
space between X-Men ending and starting again.
Yeah.
5 years, I think, is enough. And I think
Yeah.
Feige said
I-
5 years.
No matter what, they're planning it now to have a release within 5 years.
Yeah.
I think
We're
No
kind
matter
of lets off the dust of the old
But-
and
Yes.
allowing that in.
what. Specifically, what you're saying. Spider-Man in the event of the other is when his spider radiation mutation takes over. And as you know, Madam Web, the mystical, because he's like a fucking
Madam
spider.
Web.
He's a spider totem. So in every multiverse, there's a spider person. No shit, because it's multiverse world. But he doesn't know what to do. He's growing arms and shit. First person he sees is Reed Richards.
Mhm.
Because he's like, it's a radiation, cosmic radiation. And he's like, I don't know what this fuck this is. This is a mutation. Go to Xavier's school.
Yeah.
And then the Xaviers are like, I don't know what this is. And then he's like,
They
what
could
the
do
fuck?
that with Tom Holland, Fantastic Four. Like,
I'd love the idea of there being
I
a
would-
movie where there's like a cameo every 10 minutes.
Are you going to pay more money?
I'm gonna pay more money, y'all. Listen.
Are you going to have 2 child
listen,
supports
guys? Yes, I'll have 2 kids with Marvel.
and an
you
alimony?
guys do a Madam Web
If it, like
event
inclusion.
in the fucking MCU, I'll die. I'll kill myself. It'll
No,
be-
none of that. No.
After you
and
see
then I'll
it.
come back to life stronger than ever
Oh
because
my
I'll be
God.
so excited. From
I
the
mean,
pure joy will bring me back to
At least
life.
wait till you see it.
It'd be cool if the Eternals introduced like
I don't care
the
if they attempted. I'm
They
fine.
announced it.
if the Eternals included like the celestials as well as like the cosmic beings such as like the Living Tribunal, Eternity, as well as Galactus, the World Devourer, and be like these
The
are the
Cloud.
constants. No, but then also talked about like the cosmic stuff, so like the Beyonder and also
Yeah.
like Madam Web, and then with Fantastic Four they talk a little bit about like radiation stuff like that, and it leads into because like Spider-Man. The thing about Spider-Man, he always wants to be in every crew. So he wanted to join the Fantastic Four. It would be the Fantastic Five.
Fit in there better.
And then he also wanted to join the X-Men and all this stuff. And then they're like, go and then he fought them all in the war room and whooped half their asses because he's fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah. I think, and if anything, Mysterio in Far From Home showed me that visually Marvel can handle some out there shit.
Oh yeah.
So with Madam Web and stuff like that, I think they could do it tastefully.
I think, yeah, that was way better than what I saw from Doctor Strange.
yeah.
Hmm.
I agree. I
Mhm.
100% agree with
Yeah.
that.
Doctor Strange got boring. Just Kaleidoscope. Who cares?
Yeah.
Show me the same thing 4 times. Like, okay, I got it.
So,
But yeah,
but I think that wraps us.
That's
Unless
it.
you guys
Are
have
we
any
complete?
other comments
I
about
feel like-
Marvel's reveal.
I just learned so much information
A lot to
Yeah.
unpack.
about
That's how they do it.
comic books and characters I've never heard of before. Tom's got more information
I
to
wanna
stuff in
spill
my
out
brain.
because the cool thing what you do with X-Men is like so what they did with like the
it's
ultimate
about X-Men. I'm fucking
what
in.
they did with the
Listen.
Ultimate Universe was like they were like cool the Weapons Plus program, right? And Captain America was like not even the first one. Nick Fury was, and so like Captain America became Weapons Plus, and then later on after that they like lost the formula because that's what happened in the comic books.
And then they created Disney Plus.
And then they're like, there's Weapon 1,
Fuck you.
2, 3, and Weapon 10,
10.
like iPhone X.
Yes.
So-
Weapon X.
And then that became
Xavier
Wolverine.
School.
For the
But-
gifted.
But that's became the big
Jean
thing was
Grey's
that like
school.
Shield and all these other places were trying to do all these like tests that happened in Deadpool, where it's like to try to activate the
Yeah.
mutant gene.
To make it happen.
So like Black Widow could probably fucking introduce like a weapons plus program, right?
Yeah.
And that becomes this trickling effect of like, hey, there's other people in the universe,
Yeah.
and like, so if Fantastic Four, they're doing all this stuff, it's like we're finding all this. Hey, we got some information from Canada.
Yeah.
Like they can do all these things, and they do Deadpool. They bring
Yo,
Deadpool into the MCU
in.
as Phase 5. He's like, cool. I'm part of X Force. What's X Force? Fucking
Let me tell you.
Dope.
You
They
guys,
bring Phantom X in.
Well, maybe multiverse of madness brings
Well, here's
Deadpool into the universe.
Here's
There
the
was
thing.
All this?
there was a moment
is-
where I was worried that like, oh, I kind of want to read these comic books, and now there's been so much information that I can't even remember what all you've talked about. So I
Okay.
feel
We
like
do.
I'm safe
So
now.
at
We
risk
got
of
you. I'll
at
give
risk
it to
of having this go for another 90 minutes,
We're not
Yeah.
complete.
I think honestly, there's I think you'll back me up on this. There's
I won't.
enough stories in X-Men for it to be its own cinematic universe.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's what they
100%.
did.
That's yeah.
What do you mean? Well,
They
no,
did-
I mean
Fox
like
did that.
a Marvel, its own
Yeah.
Marvel, like parallel.
No,
to,
I think that's what they're going to try to do.
Guys, all I want is a fucking X-Men movie that turns into a TV show. Because
That's-
episodics.
that's the show we want on Disney Plus.
And I need Marvel to hire. Listen, a third child. If you hire me as a writer on that show,
As playing who?
Here's the other thing.
I want to be a writer. I want to write. I want to
Hey,
be a writer.
what if Kevin's like, "Hey, how's your German accent?" Calls you on the phone. What would happen right there?
How do you think about Jesus?
How do I, that's fair. I would 100%. I would like. Do you want me to learn German, or what do you want me to do? Like? I can learn it.
Just a
You want me
German
to learn it?
accent.
I'm gonna go to Germany for a year. Let me know
you
when you're in the
file-
film.
Can you file your teeth and sew
Yeah.
your fingers together?
But I also heard on that podcast that you would give child support, so we're gonna do that too.
Both. Yeah. Well, yeah. While I'm traveling.
For those who
yeah,
haven't
that's fine.
guessed,
Nightcrawler is my
Nightcrawler is his favorite character.
Night
So
Mother.
I'll be like,
Wait,
if I'm one
Jo-
of the writers, I'll be like, what about Nightcrawler episode? What do you guys think?
Josh, you have a question?
Well, it's more of a statement. Like, I'm not convinced that. Okay, so in Endgame, there was a quick scene where everybody was giving a rundown on what was going on in the universe and on Earth and whatnot, and they were like, "Oh, there are these
briefing.
tremors
Faux show.
under the ocean. What are we gonna do about it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's an earthquake under the ocean. We're not gonna do anything about it.
Mhm.
There could
What do you
be
hear?
under the sea stuff.
I was gonna say it's Adam Warlock.
Namor?
Name-
That's
that-
Namor.
It's
Namor.
Ariel and
and this is how they
Sebastian.
introduced
It's Black
the
Ariel.
live action
But yeah,
Little the Mermaid.
Submariner, who the rights was originally or was sold to Legendary Pictures,
Yeah.
and David Boreanaz was supposed to play him a long time ago.
I'm just
I
not
didn't know
convinced that was like a. If it was just like a.
I think it was just like, Nat, calm down.
Well, a lot of people
Yeah.
are speculating that too. So I mean, if it is, it could be because I would say that'd be the great way to do Black Panther 2 because you have a battle of two kingdoms that were hidden from the rest of the world, and one's coming up for resurgence. And then later on, when we do the Fantastic Four movie, Namor's part of like the UN. He falls in love with Susan Storm. He's like, "What's up, girl?" And then Reed Richards like,
As long as he says it like that.
Mark needs to write it.
Mark Bernardin.
Yeah, that was his whole thing. He's like, I want to write a Namor.
Yeah.
Movie.
But then what you do at the UN, you also fucking show Doctor Doom.
I thought you were gonna say Dr. Doolittle, and I was like,
This is my
All right.
This is my theory for Black Panther 2 first, the third Spider-Man movie, and then Blade. That's the
Oh,
first
wow,
year
that's
of Phase
crazy.
5.
Next, Phase 4 doesn't have. Oh, yeah, Phase 4 doesn't have fucking Spider-Man. It's
No.
No,
So he might be a fucking adult by this point.
Phase 4 is 2
Hey,
years.
everybody.
It's 2 years. That's it.
Yeah.
There's shorter phases.
But still, a movie without him.
Yeah, a phase
Yeah.
without. You mean? Yeah.
A phase
A phase without him. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He might show up in.
Because it takes 3 years to make.
Wow.
So he's gonna just by default he falls into Phase 5.
Yeah.
Because in every
They
phase,
can't
there's
make it
always
fast enough.
in every phase, there's always been one of the heroes.
He
and
ended
as
Phase
you
3.
added one of the heroes, there's always been like Ant-Man got added in Phase 2 and was in Phase 3.
If it was earlier in Phase 3, if he was like in the beginning of Phase 3, then he would have plenty of time.
I get what you're
But
saying,
anyways, we could talk about this. Obviously, we could talk about this for hours and
Just
hours and
when you
hours.
think that you've completed, you just keep
We're gonna
completing,
actually
and
cut you down.
completing,
We're
and
just
completing. Your
excited
brain's
about
starting
it.
to
We're
short
excited.
circuit a little bit.
Starting
I
to sound
know
like-
what I'm
no
saying.
matter what, I'm excited.
Last thing I'll say is Tom and I, or I guess I, have and if you want to see this, we can post it to the Nerd On stuff. Let us know if you want to see it. I have an entire fan casting of.
We'll chat more on
X-Men.
Discord too.
Yeah,
It's
I
up.
would love to share that with y'all. See what you think. So
Yeah.
let me know if you want to see that. I'll
Let's
share
do.
it.
Let's make a fan cast channel
Yeah.
and just throw faces and names.
There you
Let's do
go.
it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
I love it.
the pinned one is going to be Dan DeVito as Wolverine.
Oh my God! No!
It'll
Horse Bob.
No!
Let's go, Bob. You want to get some horse, Bob?
Well,
Oh wow!
Okay.
You
All
start-
right,
okay, also-
I feel complete.
gonna say you start out X-Men with Kitty Pryde. That's it.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's the
please.
only way. I'm down.
Played by Naomi Scott. So anyway, I'm complete.
I keep
Wow.
com-
Ooh.
I'm gonna give some
Ooh.
like 5 seconds.
See? So anyway, listen, X-Men.
Oh no.
He is not to
Nightcrawler
give us 5
episodes.
Okay.
seconds.
You have
Don't
completed
give us
so
5
many
seconds.
times.
Complete.
We're done.
All right. Everybody at home, thank you so much for listening. If you like these types of episodes, let us know. We're always open to doing different kinds of topics.
Let us know.
We also have a server that is attached to all of our social media that you can take and let us know what you think about the program as a whole. Some things that are going on in the Nerd On world is that we are up for nomination for the podcast
Very
awards.
Right meow.
You can write meow. Yeah. You can head on over to nerdon.io/nominate and you can nominate us.
There's still time.
Super easy. There's still time. It goes until July 31st. So yeah, check that out. We have a whole bunch of new merch. Check that out on our website. Also, you can go to nerdon.io/shop.
You can
And that will head right to our store.
see our latest collections.
I mean,
Cool new shirts.
essentially, if you break it down, the easiest way to get everything that is Nerd On related is nerdon.tv. Has all of our information, all the different shows that we do. There's something going on over here.
It's called content.
Yes. It's called
There's a video
content.
version of this
Stacking
episode.
the point.
so much stuff in my hands. I can't stop
Oh,
it.
yeah. So the content just keeps on stacking.
It does.
But
That's what I was going for. Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you for illustrating.
there's
I
a
love that
lot, and we just keep creating more. And it's because of listeners and watchers like you that we keep doing
Just
this.
like you.
Keep on keeping on.
Look in the mirror. That's who we're talking about.
Keep on keeping on. Nerd On. That's
Except
what
keep
we
your eyes
do.
on the road.
Join the Nerd on Nature.
The Nerd On Nature.
Nation today.
Yes. But yeah, share us with your friends, your family. Ratings and reviews do actually help.
For sure.
So drop that. Guerrilla marketing. Share it with your friends and your family. That's how we grow. But anyway,
Whoa.
on that note, you know the drill. As always,
Nerd on.